Hey guys, welcome back to the show. On this week's episode, we're doing a special episode. As little do most people know, I am a huge wrestling fan. And I was closeted with it most of my life until I met our special guest on the show today, Ryan Madden. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
As you guys know, the rest of the guys on the show, I met working as a mall cop. And we actually met Ryan working at the mall. He worked in one of the stores. And I don't remember exactly how I found out you were a wrestling fan.
I think it's just when we started working on projects and stuff together.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I was like, all right, cool, because I've never, outside of my family, known people that were into wrestling. So
Very, very niche, very, out there, man, you know?
It's becoming very, I'd say more popular nowadays, especially with all the options that are out there, but
Absolutely.
either way, it was cool for me because I was closeted with it most of my life. So, but yeah, so we're gonna be talking about The Wrestler, which came out in 2008, and it is a pretty awesome movie. As a wrestling fan, it's one that I highly appreciate. So we're excited to get into that. We'll do that right after a word from our sponsor.
Do you want to start a podcast? Well, now you can, for free. And it's as easy as downloading the new Spotify podcast app to your phone and or computer and hitting record. Spotify Podcasts allows you to record anytime or upload files and provides all the tools you'll need to make your episode sound as solid as stone. Spotify Podcasts is the new home for any podcasters looking to expand their brand and reach new audiences across the globe.
All right, so yeah, there's actually something that I'm...
Shut the fuck up! Just tell us what the hell happened.
Listen here, dumbass. We're not doing that this episode.
Oh.
We're talking about wrestling, all right? So,
Wrestling.
with that being said, at the time of this recording, unfortunately this past week, we had the passing of two wrestling legends, Mr. Terry Funk and Will Rotunda, also known as Bray Wyatt, to WWE fans. They both passed within the same 24 hours, which was pretty crazy and traumatic, especially if you're a wrestling fan. And it's honestly something that I'm still processing, especially with Bray Wyatt. I was a huge Bray Wyatt fan, Ryan, as I know you were.
Hell yeah.
And he was only 36 years old. I'm 32 years old, so that really hit home for me. And especially when we found out that it was related to COVID that, I guess, worsened a heart condition that he had. And it caused him to have a heart attack. And he was on the verge, he was actually out on a medical leave due to his condition. And he was on the verge of coming back.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild. But we would just like to acknowledge the passing of them and say that, you know, any wrestling fans out there, friends or family of either wrestler, our thoughts are with you, and we'll all get through it together. As they say, the show goes on. So if you guys haven't checked out the SmackDown that aired the week of their passing, there was some pretty good tribute to both wrestlers. Some good speeches were given and acknowledgments. Even in the matches, there were little nods to the wrestlers, which was really cool.
And that chair, man.
Oh, yeah.
The chair.
The chair. That got me.
Never hits harder than when
That
you see
got
that chair
me.
without a minute, man.
Oh, and also, if you watched AEW Collision the next Saturday, CM Punk came out with a tribute to Terry Funk on his wrist. So, that thing is,
A problem.
it is. Is it illegal to, unplug that?
Yes, technically, yes.
Alright.
Uh-oh.
Our emergency exit sign keeps buzzing at us. I'm not sure what that means. If you're listening or watching this and you're freaking out right now because we're dumbasses and don't know what that means, sorry.
It'll buff.
It's all good.
But if this posted, that means we survived. So
Yeah.
that's good. Alright, but now moving on.
Oh,
Moving on from
it wants to interrupt you.
the heavy stuff, let's get back to this. So, go ahead, Dima. You got a fucking question for me?
Yeah, what
you
the
fucking
fuck
prick?
happened? God.
Is he going to tell you what happened?
No.
No, he isn't.
Oh, Dima, I'm glad you asked.
Oh.
Fucking asshole. The Wrestler. Mickey Rourke plays a professional wrestler by the name of Randy the Ram Robinson. An 80s wrestling star who can easily be imagined running alongside such greats such as Hulk Hogan, Jake the Snake Roberts, Ultimate Warrior, and Bret Hart, and many more.
Macho Man.
Oh, Macho Man.
That was
sure.
who I was thinking of.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Good call. Despite his seemingly successful career, the Ram has fallen from grace, reduced to working in a grocery store and taking part in a low-pay bouts on weekends. Randy's life is changed when, after a match, he suffers a massive heart attack, which means no more wrestling. Randy reaches out to his estranged daughter, Stephanie, and a stripper by the name of Cassidy. He toys around with finding a new way in life as he fights the pull of the ring, as the 20th anniversary of his greatest bout with a wrestler known as the Ayatollah promises both money and glory. Does Randy choose the simple life of hairnets and empty rooms with other long-forgotten wrestlers, or does he risk it all for the glory? We'll find out on this episode. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Now, we're going to start off with ratings. Ryan, our rating system is set up to follow golf. So usually the higher number would be good. It's actually the reverse. So hole in one is like perfect movie.
All right.
Par 2, really good. Par 3 is wouldn't rewatch it, but it was alright. And then 4 is bad. 5 is why the fuck was that made? If it's like trash, you want it burned in the dumpster.
Is it like a quadruple bogey or
you,
something?
you can bogey it to you can bogey it however many times you want.
Is a birdie like a? It was pretty damn good. Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
I just want to get the rating down. You know.
I'm gonna give this movie an eagle. It's not perfect, but I think it's a really good movie.
I'd have to second that. I'll go an eagle too. I think it was pretty good. I think it has a way of like, if you're a non-wrestling fan, you watch it and you're like, shit, like I kind of understand it now.
Yeah, I can confirm that because I know people who have watched this and they're just like, man, that was a good movie.
My girlfriend watched it too. She was like, I really like that movie, and I don't even know shit about wrestling. You know?
Here we go.
And he don't either.
Well, let's go, Dean. Let's hear the rating. I can tell it's bad.
So,
Uh-oh.
here comes the disappointment I keep talking about.
Oh my gosh. You woke up today?
I woke up today.
That was the disappointment?
That was the disappointment. No, I think the movie was good.
But fucker.
If I would have stopped that movie halfway through, probably would have put it as a 4. Because I was bored.
Up until what point?
The second half of the movie brings it up to a 3.
Okay.
The ending of the movie brought it up to a 2.
So you were bored until what point? I'm with Ryan. I need to know where your attention was regained.
So when
Because I think the beginning of this film like hooks you.
That's what I
immediately.
thought, yeah.
So I felt like the beginning was slow. But it also had a documentary type of feel.
Yeah.
So
What did you take that down with?
I didn't. I did not follow directions.
Yeah, I was gonna say it shouldn't be going off anymore. Just keep talking to him. I can hear your bullshit.
Okay.
I was gonna say, yeah, we got you.
But honestly, it was up to the point where when he started trying to really date Cassidy,
Okay.
and then she shut him down, and that is when he went back to the deli. And that dude's like, I recognize you from somewhere, and it was back and forth for a couple minutes.
Talking about like the points in the movie where like he has the heart attack and then
After the heart attack, it was like when he was cutting the
he's cooking the meat.
ham or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and the dude kept running his mouth about knowing him, and he's like, yeah, you're Ram, but you look a lot older than him, and he took his thumb and shoved it right into that blade. From that point forward, I was like, oh shit, like this dude's about to snap,
Yeah.
and this dude's about to go wrestling again.
So that's what hooked you back.
And that's what kind of hooked me back in. I don't think it was a bad movie. I just wasn't really interested. Very much, up until that point.
Up until that point. I mean, I guess I kind of understand that. Oh, still having technical issues with the exit light.
Dude,
I don't know why that's doing that.
It's never done
It's
that before.
never.
So Kyle, I don't know if you were listening, but what we can kind of gather is the point up until when he basically like slices his hand and makes a whole scene in the deli. That's when
When he
demons.
quits the job.
Yeah, at the deli job.
wow. So you really just didn't like most of this movie?
I just didn't like most of this movie. I thought it was a very slow movie, but I'm also not a big fan of
the subject matter.
the subject matter.
I was gonna say because it is about wrestling through and
Now-
through, even though it doesn't focus on the wrestling a lot.
Exactly.
But
It's definitely the main
that is the
point of
reason
the whole
that
movie.
he is
Exactly.
a substantial character. So
Now,
Okay.
I will have to say, Mickey Rourke played this role very well.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge Mickey Rourke fan. I think
I'm not
he is
either.
a decent actor, but I think he really embodied Randy.
yeah,
And I think he did a very good job with that. And especially, now I thought he was subpar, but when his daughter really told him, like, fuck you, like, pretty much the ending of the movie, I think he played that very well. You could see the hurt in his eyes, like, he knows he failed as a father and he failed in life. And he straight up told her, like, yeah, I tried to forget about you so I could pretty much live my life as a wrestler and be successful in that. And he knew, like, I wrestle again, I'm dead.
yeah.
Like, he knew the doctor told him that. Which is what, it was a suicide mission. That's the way I took it. And that is what really, like, drew me in because I'm like, holy shit, like, this dude just said, fuck it. He's like,
I'm over with it.
I'm ready to die because I have nothing else to live for because I fucked everything up in my life. I'm going out with what I love. And I think it really showed a lot into this world. Yes, I'm not a fan of wrestling. I don't think that has changed, but I think what has changed is the respect I have for these guys that go out and do this shit. Like, especially that scene when I don't even know what it's called, y'all know the answer to this, I'm sure. When they have, like, the barbed wire in the ring and the fucking mouse traps and the staple, I was like,
CZW.
yeah.
holy fucking shit.
DCW.
Like,
Deathmatch style wrestling.
this dude is using he's putting fucking staples in this guy
Dude,
and himself.
I used to have a DVD. I wish I still had it. It was ECW
Mhm.
classic matches from like their start to finish. It was like the best matches they had. ECW was Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Okay.
So like it was all about that.
That's wild.
Like you go out there, you're going out there to bleed.
Yeah.
So, I'm telling you, if you watch those DVDs, those like 2 hours of matches, you'd be like, holy shit, dude. Something about that match. We're all familiar with Quentin Tarantino.
Mhm.
Makes very gory movies.
Yes.
Like he'll have movies, especially like Django Unchained. Someone gets
Oh, yeah.
shot, and they just explode into a big splatter of blood. He watched this movie. He's actually a big fan of it. He said that the death match actually made him squirm.
Dude.
So to
yeah.
make a guy who makes movies like that
Dark
squirm,
movies, yeah. I think
some
it's very well
intense
done.
shit.
And like, and I like the way they filmed it because it
Yeah.
it said 14 minutes before. Whenever the doctors were treating him, I really like that it went back and like this dude's replaying this match in his head like a PTSD thing. Like you just put yourself through hell. So I have a lot of respect for what these guys go through. I thought it was really cool to say, like, I have pretty decent amount of good things to say about this movie. It just wasn't my type of movie, which is why I think I gave it that, 3 or 2.
What are you giving it officially? I need to know.
Probably a 2 because of the ending.
Okay.
And the storyline was very good, like, interesting for somebody who's not a wrestling fan because it really opens your eyes to what the world is like, especially like the behind the scenes things and me being huge on behind the scenes kind of deals, whether it's movies, music videos, all that other stuff out there. It was very interesting. Like, these dudes are mapping out what is about to happen an hour before they go out and do it, and then they execute exactly what they talked about. And it was really cool to see, like, they go out there, they try to beat the shit out of each other, and then they walk off and they're limping, and as soon as they go through the threshold of that door, they're fine. Ideally,
Yeah.
most of the part. So it was like, it really shows you the inside of this world. And like I said, as a non-wrestler, it was really cool to see and very interesting.
Yeah.
So.
My inspiration for wanting to do this movie was actually CM Punk came back to the world of wrestling over a year ago, but still pretty recently in history, and it was a big deal because he was out of the sport for 7 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It was a huge deal. So when he came back, of course, he was doing a lot of interviews and podcasts. He was on one podcast, I think specifically for AEW, and they were asking him about like movies because he did some movies when he was out of wrestling, and asked like what kind of movies are you into, and one he actually cited was The Wrestler because he said that Darren Aronofsky actually like captured the most realistic take that he has seen on wrestling in any movie or TV show about wrestling. He said there's nothing in the movie that isn't hard fact. Like, that's how it is. That's, like a realistic look. He said for anyone who wants a realistic look at behind the curtain, watch The Wrestler. And I was like, because I had seen the movie, but CM Punk is my all-time favorite wrestler, like hands down. I'm a big fan of him in and out of the ring. I think he's really cool in the real world. So I follow him religiously. Anything he says is like God's word to me. I'm just like, yes, CM Punk.
I'm with you.
So, yeah, so when he talks about The Wrestler in that way, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to rewatch this again. And that's what inspired this. I thought it'd be cool to talk about with you, not being, a wrestling fan, but also having me and Ryan, who are wrestling fans, and just kind of get these different perspectives on it. But it's crazy to me because, like I said, I had seen that movie before, but now knowing that someone like CM Punk, who takes wrestling very seriously, and what I've always liked about him is how real he is. So I know when he says this movie is a good look at behind the curtain, he's not just saying that, he means it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to really pay attention this time when I watch it. And it's crazy, man. I mean, it's there's a lot of wrestling podcasts I'll listen to. One of them, they had Ric Flair on. Yeah, and he was talking about like how hard it used to be for guys to get out of the business and still have the money coming in. Because even him, at one point, after his successful career, he got injured, had to retire for a little bit, or out of action, I guess you can say. He went broke.
He's
All of his money.
He's still wrestling. He don't have any money.
Yeah, and even nowadays, he had to start a hemp business because he was running out of money again. And that's a guy who is like a legend in this industry. He's still alive, walking around. You'd think he'd be loaded. Broke. He said he was
the same about Hulk Hogan. I don't think he's got a lot of money either.
Yeah, and he's like, it's because when you're out there, wheeling and dealing, the money goes.
It does.
Or sometimes it blows. But
Facts.
But it disappears, and he said nowadays, you've got all these different opportunities. Someone wants to step out of the business, they can start doing movies. They can start, some kind of clothing line or some kind of brand, which is what he did. He's got a hemp business. But he's like, back then, those opportunities weren't there. If something happened to you to where you couldn't wrestle anymore, and you were still technically in the prime of your life, you were probably going to end up like the Ram.
Damn.
You're living in a trailer park. You can't afford your rent. You're doing these fucking... I mean, dude, the movie starts... I want to talk about the opening scene really quick. Because, like I said, for me, the opening scene just had me hooked. You got this beaten up wrestler sitting in a chair. And what kind of room is he in? It's a fucking classroom.
Yeah.
He's in like an elementary school classroom. And then you see when he's leaving, the ring's getting torn down. It's in a school gym.
Oh, yeah.
This dude just wrestled in a school on the weekend.
Yeah.
That's rough, man.
It's sadly the reality too. Like,
It is.
I know everybody thinks that all wrestling is like WWE, big arenas, big stages. There's guys in the business right now that are big and famous, right? That are big names like AJ Styles and people like that. That, like, it reminds me of a promo that Randy Orton, one of the best in the business for WWE right now, said.
Yes.
He said, you were wrestling in bingo halls when I'm out here main eventing. Like, they start in bingo halls. They fight in, school gyms. they fight in these. Even ECW didn't have. They wrestled just in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
Because they have no funding. Like
Yeah.
even the smallest wrestling promotions will fight in any place. They fight outside some fucking times.
Say
with,
parking lots. That's a common
It's
thing.
not all glory. I mean, there's fledgling, wrestling promotions you never heard of that take place in, Uncle Fester's backyard because they ain't got
Dude,
funding
yeah.
for it,
And that's the thing, like I said at the beginning, now we've got more companies that have come to be, that have the financial backing to get, wrestlers paid and also get promotion out there. And that didn't exist, hell, 5 years ago.
It was WWE and no one else.
WWE, their closest competitor for a while, especially in the early 2000s, was TNA Impact, and they shut that shit down quick. Any of the old WWE wrestlers that went there that made it a big thing either came back or retired, and they just started trickling out. And it was sad, but it was one of those things, kind of like WCW. You knew that it was going to be a flame that would fade out.
Bad booking, poor money decisions.
Dude.
I would say that they really didn't handle their money very well.
No, and that's just the thing, because the formula that Tony Khan has just totally eradicated a need for. The formula used to be, how do you do what WWE is doing but better than them, and in a way that you can efficiently get ahead of them, because they have laid down this road of years and years and years of building up their name, building up superstars. That money is just always going to be there. Like, WWE is inevitable, and anyone who goes into wrestling, that is like the promised land. Like that's the be all, or it used to be. And Tony Khan brilliantly, for one, he gets wrestlers that have been doing indies most of their life. They haven't been in WWE except for Cody Rhodes. But that was smart too, because they used his knowledge.
Jericho's too.
Oh yeah, and Jericho. Got to give Jericho credit. But you got these guys like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. He brings them all in. He's got the money. They've got the knowledge. They start this company. And literally, it was like a new WWE popped out of fucking nowhere that, in my opinion, was better.
And the whole...
From jump. I mean, just from jump.
From the jump, for sure. I would say that it's funny, too, that, like, you hear these people online that complain about, they're hiring all ex-WWE guys. But I read a comment that was a pretty fun point that they're like, well, actually, they started from something a lot smaller and got to WWE. So you could really say they're ex-ROH guys, Ring of Honor, which is the biggest independent promotion in the business.
Yep.
Or
which Tony Khan now also
Which
owns.
now he also owns.
Yep.
Or, a bingo hall in Illinois, Like, they don't just start in WWE. No, they start elsewhere. And if they're lucky enough to make it to WWE, then... Yeah, but no one's an ex-WWE guy. Everybody starts their own business.
I'm glad you brought that up, because my favorite thing about that, too, is, like, if you think about John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, all these guys came from fucking OVW, like Ohio Valley Wrestling. A tiny little fucking room with a ring. Like, they were nobodies, man. Nobodies.
And sure, it was WWE's developmental, but at the same point, it was different,
Yep.
You'd maybe catch it on like a local network every once in a while,
But, point being, if, say, it would never happen, but Randy Orton goes to AEW.
You can hope.
Yeah. You could say, oh, yeah, he's an ex-WWE guy, but like you said, he'd be like an ex-OVW guy.
Or an ex-indie wrestler.
Right? Exactly. Like,
all of them start
they all
somewhere.
put this time on the road, and that's, I don't know. So, yeah, I hate that fucking comment. Oh, it's an ex-WWE guy. That's all they're hiring.
But really, they're not, because you look at you have so many different. You have so many different characters, so many different gimmicks. You have Darby Allin, the Reaper skateboarder.
There's people I wasn't aware of until AEW.
Yeah.
That are honestly just as good or better than talent in WWE.
And I never want to discredit WWE because I still watch it.
Oh yeah,
I went and saw it a couple months ago. Like, they do put on a good show, but some of the stuff can be a little formulaic, and
Yeah, sometimes they get a little repetitive, and that's why AEW just brought a fresh change.
It's
you know?
funny that Cody always has such good quotes and he jumps ship, but like, you know, it's like you want a good alternative, you know? Like, I don't want to just watch the NFL. Maybe I want to watch some college sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll dip my hand in the CFL.
Exactly.
You know? Like, you want to watch alternatives.
I kind of wish. Sorry, Dean. We're gonna go on a little tangent really quick. I kind of wish more wrestlers would do what Cody did because it spices things up a little bit.
It does.
Like, say right now, fucking Jey Uso pops up at All In this weekend. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it'll
Or
never happen,
it'll
but that
never
would be
happen.
so fucking crazy.
Even
man.
if it was just a one-off appearance. Like, you know, like, it'd be fucking awesome. It's huge for
If
the
you ask me,
sport.
it'd be smart on his end.
I think then, like, the whole, you know, the two companies button heads, like, they don't understand, like, if those two work together, you're going to make a lot of wrestling fans happy.
Yeah.
Sure, you get your WWE marks and maybe your AEW marks, too. But, like, me as a wrestling fan, I just want to see everyone work together. I want the dream
Yeah.
matches, you know, that, like, when WWE failed with WCW in 01 and they couldn't put those dream matches together.
Yeah.
This is what we actually want. We want to see Randy Orton and Kenny Omega.
Dude.
This, like,
Team-
you missed it, my
Gotta
brother.
get you a back.
You missed it, my brother.
Yeah, but I guess we'll get back on the movie, but I want to close this thought with saying I'd be all for that. Like, if Forbidden Door could expand to including WWE, that concept is so cool.
It really is.
Just seeing all these different wrestlers possibly, I don't know. But,
We had to get a little wrestling in there for the wrestling fans.
Yeah.
We're sorry. You know what I mean?
and also, kind of follow up on what you said. Cody Rhodes said in an interview, I actually think it was on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, that he wants both companies to be successful because both companies being successful is good for wrestling,
It is.
and that's in turn good for the fans of wrestling. So, and like CM Punk said when he came back, it's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan because you got two giant companies
And you have
with
some
all
other
these wrestlers.
some other smaller ones too that you could watch and pay attention to.
You have more days a week you can tune in and watch wrestling than you could a couple years ago now. You know, like, it used to just be like, oh yeah, Monday and Friday,
Yeah.
and maybe Tuesday you can watch NXT, and now it's like,
Again. To put it in
we're going to make you housekeeping.
to put it in simple layman's terms, it's like when AT&T had a monopoly over the cell phone business, you know,
Mhm.
like you don't want to just have AT&T.
Oh shit.
I don't have AT&T. I'll never go back to fucking AT&T.
I have it right
Trash.
now, but that's
But,
going
like-
to change one day.
But like, you want to have your Verizons and your T-Mobiles, and
Yeah.
you want to have some other options. If there's one company that has an entire monopoly over something, it's not good for business. When you have all these competitors, it's good for business, and it makes the other businesses thrive in the process. Makes them more competitive. Why do you think WWE is so afraid of AEW? Because it's like, oh shit, they got
Well, and
all
that's why I liked when Vince McMahon had to retire when he was having those troubles legally, because you know who's very cognizant of AEW being a threat is Triple H. So when Triple H was at the helm of the ship,
Yeah.
things were fucking changing. You had wrestlers coming back that Vince McMahon had backburnered
Like Bray Wyatt.
indefinitely. Exactly. And it really showed that someone like Triple H, who can quit being stubborn like Vince McMahon and admit, hey, there's this other company out there, they're doing some things. Maybe we need to change up what we're doing.
Mhm.
It was cool. Like, during that time period, because unfortunately it's already gone, but it was cool knowing that, like, I could watch AEW or WWE and unpredictable shit was going to happen. People were going to pop up I wouldn't expect. It was a fun time, you
It
know?
was.
And whenever Vince McMahon wants to step down again, that'd be nice.
I'd just like to mention, like, if anybody isn't a wrestling fan and you want to see some crazy shit, just look up, like, some 2000s Mr. McMahon shenanigans and all the crazy shit that he does, and it
Some
makes
of
you
the funniest
seriously
shit.
wonder. People that people that don't watch it go, what the actual fuck is happening?
So, Jordan's at work right now. He can't be here. Jordan's actually a
Loser.
low-key wrestling fan. He's always sending me, like, videos and stuff on TikTok and Instagram. One of his favorite characters is Vince McMahon from that era. And, yeah, there's, like, some of the blunders where he would slip, you know, the
Yeah.
N-word
Yeah.
on TV and
That's
shit
that's
like
kind of what I was referring to when he was wearing.
Or like if you
yeah.
got someone like who's of Indian descent and he says something about Taliban, or I mean, dude, it's very cancelable shit, but
Which
it
is-
is a funny time.
Or when God
Just-
went to the
oh,
ring
that
at
dude.
Survivor Series, he had a. To those who don't know, he had a spotlight Vince
my
McMahon
gosh.
had this whole angle. He has his son in the ring, and Shawn Michaels, one of the best in the business, has to go 2-on-1 against them. And he goes, "Oh no, I have a partner for you." And they straight have just a spotlight going from the top of the ring to the end. He said, "You have God in your corner." It's some of the shit that they come up with is just goofy, you know.
Vince McMahon's one of the best TV characters of all time.
He is.
I don't
Underrated.
always like his business decisions, but who am
It's-
I to say anything? Because he made the most successful wrestling company in the
It's
world.
been a juggernaut, man.
So, hey, you make some blunders, but you got a solid business for sure. Back to the movie, Dima.
I'm just here today.
So yeah, we get past the gymnasium. We see he's locked out of his trailer at a trailer park, right? And then
Wash.
he's in his van. He's got to get to sleep. So what's he do? He pops some pills and he downs them with some alcohol.
Yeah.
So right in the first 5 minutes of this movie, I'm just like, dude, this guy's life sucks.
Hmm.
But in the beginning, we get that montage of seeing his glory days, and it's like, what the hell happened? You know, like, so that's just the kind of culture shock to me as a wrestling fan to realize, like, that's a reality that a lot of wrestlers, especially from the 80s, early 90s, have dealt with. And I don't know. I can't imagine being in that situation where, like, your job has been this thing that requires you to be somewhat good looking and somewhat athletic, but your body's wearing down like a car engine. You got to stop doing what you're doing or you're going to fucking blow out. And he doesn't know what to do. Like, as a wrestling fan, you never think about that because, like, one of my favorite things about this movie is you get to see behind but also in front of the curtain. So, like, when he goes out, that's me and Ryan, right? Like, that's what we see. You come out all polished up, you look good, you're fucking killing it. We don't see that shit that goes on in the back. And that's just kind of something, like, now I think about all these matches that I've seen where you got someone jumping off of a fucking, 2-story cage or getting set on fire, getting hit with barbed wire. It's like, I can only imagine what they're going through once they go through that curtain.
Yeah.
Like, the pain they're trying to hide while they're limping up that ramp. I don't know, man. It really makes you think.
Well, Randy even said when I think he was talking to Cassidy, and he goes, yeah, you're in pain, but you have to just keep pushing through it to get through the show. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's
From
part
what
of
I
the-
picked up,
part of the
that's all
job.
that fucking matters.
part of
You
the job.
suffer until you go right back through that curtain.
It's like a sense of pride.
Exactly.
You work so hard at it. You
Yeah.
don't want to see that. It's like, I bet you money if you ask a lot of pro wrestlers in the business right now, it doesn't matter who, it's like, I do it for the fans. I want an ovation. I want a crowd. I want a following. I want to send, folks home happy.
Yeah.
That's all they want.
Yeah.
And what's really great about this movie was,
Steven, can you pass me a York peppermint patty?
oh yeah, of course, I kind of been turning them up over here.
Thank you, sir. We
Sorry.
should get a sponsorship.
We
from
should.
York peppermint.
I like the way it chills my mouth when I bite into it.
We lost that one. every potential one, we lose immediately. Gosh.
But what,
Peppermint patty.
what was great about this movie, like, not even including wrestling, but including everything, especially in professional sports, is you don't consider their life after retirement. You consider their life when they are putting on the show for you. Once
Yes.
they hit retirement, the shit that he's going through, I guarantee you, most people are fucking going through that in the professional world.
Well, that's what Ric Flair was saying on that podcast. Like, unless you just stay in it, like, I don't know, Sting, I guess.
Sting.
Dude, for one, shout out to Sting because I think you're going to go down as, like, the most badass wrestler of all time. I was a fan of him when I was a kid, just because of his get-up. He looked cool. But now, I'm just like, anytime he does, I'm like, how fucking old is he again?
60.
Dude, it's crazy.
71.
He's 71.
Is that for real?
I don't know.
I thought he was like 64. No, Dima, that's the singer. No, he should look like this guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen
You
pictures of
following?
that guy.
You
He's
following?
64.
Oh, dude, I'm fucking
You're on
good.
the money.
Yeah,
64
all right.
on the money.
All right.
Oh, I looked up Sting and they gave me the bassist from the Police.
Oh.
Not that Sting. You'd have thought they'd have given you the, I don't know, I guess a popularity contest. I don't want to point out who's more
I
popular.
kind of want to see that Sting in wrestling now. Oh
That-
my god.
Holy shit.
That Sting is 71,
Preacher.
yes.
But for real, Sting is probably gonna be the greatest of all time because I don't see him stopping anytime soon, man. He was just injured, and then he came back, and he's fucking right back at it, man. He's just doesn't slow down.
Dude's
But
a-
like Ric Flair was saying, unless you stay in the business and that money keeps coming in, like you're gonna run out of it, and you're gonna have to figure out what to do next. And
Well, it seems like a
That's-
lot of these wrestling guys are going toward, like you said earlier, one of you said earlier, you're going towards the film industry. Dwayne Johnson completely changed the entertainment industry by
oh,
doing
dude, yeah,
it.
he's
He
just
switched.
a mogul.
I'm glad
Like,
you
he-
mentioned that too.
You
'Cause,
know-
like, how many people that are like, oh my god, Dwayne Johnson's such a movie star, and I swear to God, if you ask like if you interview 10 people, 5 of them will be like, wait, he was a pro wrestler?
Oh yeah,
I'm like,
it's
no, he
true.
was one of the best pro wrestlers in the 90s, absolutely.
that's why I'm wearing a Rock shirt because he was one of my favorite wrestlers when I was growing up. Not favorite movie star, wrestler.
And that's the thing is like, he,
Oh yeah, shout out to Ryan with his
I'm also
MJF
rocking
shirt.
the MJF
Yeah.
shirt. Hope he wins tonight. But
Dwayne Johnson changed that industry where it's possible to go from one side of entertainment to another side of entertainment. John Cena's getting in that boat.
He is.
I'm sure there's been other people who
to add to your point as well, I think that like, I mean, everybody just thinks wrestling is all like throwing people around and, you know, fake stuff, but like you also have to be really, really good on the mic. And I think those mic skills and those acting and like those kind of like, I mean, some stuff is like scripted, right?
Yeah,
For sure.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
for like
100%.
promo wise and like how you talk, but some of it, like AEW that's newer, guys are just going out there and doing their own shit.
Yeah, they're
not,
doing it off the cuff,
very
man.
improv.
but like people like that should be good in the film industry. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
No, they
'Cause-
should. I mean,
You alright?
I'm trying to think of how to word this. With that, being able to talk on the mic and then be able to do what they do and make it look the way they want it to look is a very difficult task to do.
Oh yeah.
It's easy to choreograph. I say that very loosely.
Of course.
It is easy to choreograph a fight and make it look legit. We fucking done it and it looks fucking awesome. But to make it look the way they make it look is challenging. I've seen behind the scenes stuff. I don't know who the dude was. I'm not even going to act like I know. Big white dude was in the ring and it looked like a bunch of like people like us, just normal dudes. But more importantly, people like y'all who are fans of it and looking to get into the industry. And he's trying to show them how to fall properly to make the biggest possible sound and all that. That is a very difficult job to do, and these dudes fucking kill it, which is why I think they are able to switch to acting as loosely again, easily as they do, considering, you know, you get I mean, Tim McGraw's a bad example because of Blindside, the dude killed in the thing, but most people in like other industries would not be able to bounce so easily and so fluidly
There's a lot of talent that goes into
than
it.
this. Yes.
There's a key point. Sorry, Ryan, but
No, go ahead.
I need to point this out because it's something I had to get my wife to realize. And I'll just say real quick, my wife Abby now has a new appreciation for wrestling. She surprised me last year, took me to an AEW show, which Ryan was at.
I was also at.
Yes, but while we were there, and I tried to tell her this so many times, she realized this is all happening live.
Yeah.
Like, you can't screw up. There's no retakes. So to add to the acting element, it's even worse in my opinion because you don't get the hey, can we redo that?
Yeah, exactly.
It's all live, and even if it's not aired on TV, it's in front of a massive audience.
Exactly.
Like it is always in front of people that are judging you.
Yes.
Literally, if you fuck up, it's going to be on TikTok. It's going to be on social media. So, especially in this day and age, you have to go out there and nail it every time, or you're going to be a fucking meme, and you're not going to have a good career.
Right.
So, it really impresses the hell out of me. The physicality, the athleticism, because those are two different things in my opinion, and the acting, and then like he said, the mic skills. Like you got to be able, like anyone can become an actor to some degree,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
To be able to get on a mic and speak while doing that and portraying a character that might be completely different than who you are
Yeah.
live.
Yes.
And like he said, sometimes not even scripted, just off the cuff. With
Yeah, fucking improv.
MJF's graded that, CM Punk's graded that. It's mind-boggling. Me, dude, I would get up there and just be like, I got nothing.
Yeah, I'd be stuttering bad.
Just throw shit at me.
Just have to cut it off the cuff
Just-
promo, man.
It's crazy. And sometimes they make changes too. So like you'll go out there and think you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Shelton Benjamin was just on Insight, and he talked about this. He had a match with Chris Jericho that is one of his favorite matches. He didn't know the fucking ending of it.
Oh, shit.
Chris Jericho did. Chris Jericho literally tells him right before it happens.
Oh, damn.
And he just has to know, like, oh, okay, this is how we're fucking doing it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll think you know what's going on, and then the ref will get, Vince McMahon or Tony Khan in their ear, like, hey, we're changing this. They're calling it audible. Oh, everyone involved has to change now. And they sell it still.
Yes.
It's so fucking impressive, man. That's a reason I've stayed a wrestling fan. Even in times, because before AEW, I would fall off with WWE, man. I'd get bored of what they were doing. I would get totally bored with who they were trying to push. And I was like, I'm done watching this. But I was still a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Because of that aspect of it. I respect the hell out of it. And it's something I don't think I could ever do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to try to do. I'd rather just go and enjoy the people that do it really well. But yeah, so anyways, I just wanted to add that. It's live.
Yes.
That is so crucial. But yeah, what were you going to say earlier before I cut you off?
I think it was something along the lines of what you said about like the athleticism. It takes a lot of talent to have athleticism. Then you have to be good on the mic, and you have to keep your body maintained. You can't have injuries. If you have injuries, it's kind of like in sports. If you continue to have injuries, your career's over.
Like- your body's your business,
Which is
you
why
gotta
with
keep
like the
it-
hardcore wrestling, like Dima said earlier, with like the staples and shit like that, to have that kind of body structure and not get injured all the time,
dude.
like that's insane.
Well, that's why those old guys like Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, that were in ECW.
They look pretty
I don't know
rough.
how they... And Terry Funk.
Terry Funk.
Man, he had some good matches.
Sabu was recently on AEW too. He was another one. The dude just... I remember in TNA they had a match called Barbed Wire. Oh god, I can't remember what it was called, but like it, the ring ropes were barbed wire.
I remember
Ooh.
that.
There were boards with barbed wire.
Dude,
There
he
were
literally
bats with
went
barbed
in
wire.
between the barbed wire. Like,
my
it was
God.
between his arms and his body. And he was, like, hanging.
Nope.
If you have a weak stomach, it's not for you. But if you like
Well, that just make me
deathmatch style
cringe.
wrestling, it's something to behold.
That's the thing is like, even though it's all acting, it's all show, it's all entertainment, these dudes and gals, they are putting their bodies through absolute hell. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to the women in recent years because now that they are allowed to go out there and do what they want, they're fucking killing it, man.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah,
I actually
I
have
believe
a
it.
lot of favorite women wrestlers. Back in the day, and it's just because that's how they were, like, sold to us.
Mhm.
They were just something nice to look at.
Yeah.
I hate saying that, but that's how they were treated. So
That's
that's
how
how
it
they were
was.
receptive at the audience
Yes.
because they weren't allowed to go out there and be wrestlers. They were divas.
Yeah. It was,
They
rough.
had bra and panty matches. Like
Wow.
it was a joke, man. And
Those-
now they're allowed to go out there and do what the other wrestlers do. Sometimes a lot better, and it's awesome. So, yeah, shout out to the women wrestlers.
it's definitely a. It is definitely.
Sometimes I want to send you back to Tesla and get a new Nova. Elon Musk needs to
I need
give
an
some-
upgrade or
a new
something.
deal.
I'm
Need some
slacking.
updates. Being a
Um,
lot needs upgrade.
But it's almost a young man's sport to be a part of. And these people, like, when I looked up y'all Stingray dude, being in this,
his name ain't Stingray. God.
whatever.
Sting.
Yeah,
That's
that guy.
Stingray.
Homeboy being
You
in
just
his,
insulted 20 million wrestling
Oh
fans.
my god,
worldwide.
Dean was canceled. He doesn't
Yeah,
even know.
I'm absolutely going to get obliterated for that one.
Stingray would be a badass wrestling
It
name.
actually
Um,
would be.
That's your new
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Diva.
Stingray.
That is definitely going to come back to bite me in the ass one day. But him being in his 60s and able to still do this is ridiculous.
Dude,
I don't think
only-
I could go out
Dude,
right
I
now.
could show you some shit he's done just in the past year, and you'd be like, what?
He was wasn't it a recent spot where he was like 20, 30 feet. Like he
Yeah.
was like above the rafters,
shit.
and the dude just jumped on somebody.
See, I
Like he
wouldn't
don't
do
give a
Yeah,
shit.
literally just jumped.
I want to do
Just,
it.
but he
Like,
still runs,
Mad respect.
leaps. I mean, he does
Yeah.
everything like he's young, man. It's crazy. But you are right. It is a young person's sport.
Yeah.
The younger you get in the business, the better. Like Randy Orton's a great example. He's a third generation.
Third generation.
I think he's third generation.
yeah.
Superstar.
Don't
So
know.
his grandpa and dad were wrestlers. So he got in a little quicker than other people. But he also was just really fucking good. He earned it. It wasn't just like he earned that shit, man.
Sure.
And he was the youngest world heavyweight champion in WWE history.
24.
24.
How old I am right now.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
damn.
And he just had all of these
Look at me.
years to just do the fucking thing. And he was in his prime that entire, like his prime was longer than most wrestlers' prime. So like Bray Wyatt, rest in peace, he came into WWE in his late 20s,
Okay.
almost 30, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not preferred, but it's not that old. But when you come in right out of your 20s, and now AEW just signed this Nick Wade kid. They literally signed him when he was 16. Waited
Holy
2
shit.
years from the turn 18, and as soon as he did, they had him in a match on TV.
It's
That's
wild.
18 years old, man. And he's really fucking good.
Bring up the latter half of the end too. You mentioned Bray Wyatt. I don't know if you knew, but Diamond Dallas Page, huge WCW legend, really big guy in the business. I think he was like a bouncer at like a nightclub in Miami,
Yeah,
and he came into wrestling when like he was in his 30s.
yeah.
Dude still had a good career for him
He
being in
did.
so short, you know.
And he found a way to get a new career from his name.
DDP Yoga.
Yep. Which my uncle actually did. So,
I know a couple people that do it too.
yeah. But, yeah. DDP Yoga, man. But yeah, so a lot of people will start late. Batista started late. He was in his 30s.
Mhm.
He was a bouncer.
Oh, wow.
Didn't really know what he was going to do with his life.
Had
He
one
kind
of the best careers in the
Yeah.
modern ruthless aggression era. for
fucking
sure.
crazy, man. So yeah, starting young is definitely the way to go because you got longevity in your career. You also have more time to figure out what you're going to do. You know, so like afterwards. But yeah, so we see, getting back into this movie, the effects of age and not a good retirement plan in full effect here. And not to mention what it does to your family. A lot of wrestlers have torn apart families. It's actually kind of common with the sport. And whether it's just from being on the road, 340 days of the year, cheating, addiction problems, you name it, their families get torn apart. They end up alone. So that was something I was actually pretty aware of before this movie. Just looking at older wrestlers, they're usually divorced a couple times.
There's a good documentary I just watched about the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and him
Oh.
cheating on his wife. And yeah, it's a really good documentary. He just talks about, he's like, man, the power and the money. He's like, the fact that I played the $1 Million Man and I had all this money, he said it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And he, I think, went and he converted back to Christianity, and like he's living a happy life in Georgia. Like these guys think it's everything, and sometimes it's not for some. I mean,
He needs to say a prayer for his son.
yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. I was gonna say it came. To be fair, it came out like 10 years ago, but I just watched it.
Oh,
I know all the shit
yeah.
they got going on around him, but like, yeah,
Yeah, Dean, really quick, his son is like going to federal prison
yeah.
for tax evasion.
He was in the documentary too, like
Oh,
with his
jeez.
dad, and he was like, "I love my dad. He's such a good
Yikes.
dad, even though he was gone so long."
Do you know why he left wrestling?
Ted DiBiase.
Did he get let go, or did he just not want to do it anymore?
I think he did that movie, like the Marine 4, which is like every wrestler's like first movie that they do when they're out of wrestling. But after that, I don't know. I think he just wanted to do business or something. I think like in the
Terrible
documentary,
decision.
I think he said he had some kind of business he was doing. I don't know.
Yeah, a little backstory on that, Dima. He came into WWE with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, the other two wrestlers we've mentioned on this a lot. So
All
far.
third generation stars.
Yeah, they had a faction called Legacy because they all had, lineage in the wrestling business. For whatever reason, when they all broke apart, Randy, was already awesome, but he continued being awesome. Cody had a rough bump, but he came back up for sure. But he still kept trying. Ted DiBiase Jr. just went, yeah, fuck it. And now he's... Yeah, so apparently money was an issue for him. So he probably should have stuck with wrestling. But anyways, and he was actually good when he was in it. I liked him. I thought Legacy was a cool faction. But yeah, anyways. So
I've talked about wrestlers going into acting. What about the actors that go into wrestling?
Stephen Amell,
Who?
your Green Arrow,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
fake fan.
You'd have to give us some names there on the actors.
I was thinking more like
I thought that's who he was gonna
Logan
say.
Paul.
That's
He's
who
not an actor.
I will
not?
say
He's done like one shitty
Okay,
movie.
Disney.
he's made a hell of a name for himself. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Okay, entertainer.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna discredit what he's done, but he's done like one shitty movie.
Yeah, actually-
Jake Paul's done more on TV than
That's
him.
true. So
And
I
I say
didn't
Logan
know.
Paul's the better athlete, just my opinion. I think he's doing a lot more.
Dude, Logan's phenomenal, especially in wrestling. Yeah, I know that's like a controversial subject. I'm guessing you're gonna agree with me. I
Go
think
for it.
he's awesome in the WWE.
I think so too. He surprised me because when he came in,
Dude, yeah.
You know, Dima, I'll say this: like, as a wrestling fan, when I hear like David Arquette's the first one that I think of from the 2000s. This dude was like made a movie. The booker at WCW, the name Vince Russo, is infamously known for being really stupid with booking decisions and making
Yeah.
the worst calls and
Very
basically
controversial.
burying WCW as a company. And he decided, okay, this guy's in the movie. I'm going to pull a swerve, bro. I'm going to put the fucking belt on him.
Yep.
And it actually fucking happened. He
It
put
did.
the goddamn belt
In
on him.
real life.
It was some kind of bullshit stipulation.
What is that movie? Ready to Rumble?
Ready to Rumble.
Oh wow.
It's actually that features some WCW
And he
stars in
he
it.
put the fucking
like
belt on him.
Stingray.
You get,
My Stingray.
you get the latter half, that guy who can't wrestle his way out of a fucking paper bag. And then you get Logan Paul, who actually surprises me. So when I hear, oh, Logan Paul's going to wrestle, I'm going, oh, yeah, okay. Like David Arquette Part 2. Dude can actually go. He can go.
I've been surprised at because I mean, let's be honest, Logan Paul's definitely a hard part timer. He's a pay-per-view guy. I've been surprised that I get so excited for his matches at pay-per-views. Like
They're
even
good.
this one with Ricochet, because Ricochet's kind of just been lackluster in his career recently. Like, and it's not his fault. It's just there's not really a good story for him right now. But I knew that match was gonna be nothing but a bunch of spots. But dude, I was all for it. It was so fucking cool, man. You got two guys that can flip and jump and do all this crazy shit.
You know
like,
what's funny is when I actually looked up actors in wrestling on Google, it's all wrestlers. Like the first 10 that pop up.
Yeah, they're
Dwayne
all-
Johnson, Dave Batista,
they're
Roddy
all on
Piper,
IMDb.
Andre
Yeah.
the Giant. I
Yep.
forgot he was in that one movie back.
Yes,
in
he
the day.
was.
But like all wrestlers, so like it. Adding to our point earlier, you could be a wrestler and just go to acting. There's a lot of them apparently that have done it.
Yeah.
Even if it was like a one-off, where like, have you guys watched The Longest Yard, like that
Yes.
football movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like all wrestlers
Yeah.
just like acting.
Fucking Goldberg, and that's my favorite.
They make it look so effortless, you know. Like, hey, we need you to be a tough-ass, bad guy in this movie. Okay.
Dude, the Great Khali's in that.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind, because, like, I didn't think anything of him when that movie came out, but then after he debuted in WWE, he's the big Indian guy that they're, like, scared to get on the team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But he's actually, like, he became a wrestler in WWE after that movie.
Yeah.
So it was crazy for me to go back and go, oh, that's that big fucker that's in WWE. But I'm going to answer your question, Dima, because me personally, I get really tired of outsiders in general, not just acting, just other, like, people, like athletes from other sports or anything coming into the WWE. It's not discrediting, like Logan Paul, Bad Bunny, Pat McAfee. They can come in and fucking kill it. They show they have a respect for the sport and everything. But it gets kind of like convoluted when you have, I don't know, like Floyd Mayweather, fucking Tyson Fury, like Ronda Rousey coming in. It's just like, dude, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, it's just like they're trying to write off their name, and there's not really much else going into it. Like, Ronda Rousey's my favorite example because it's like, yeah, she's definitely learned the sport.
Yeah.
Her mic skills still suck. But she's not trying to do something different. She's just like, yeah, I'm Ronda Rousey, and now I'm in WWE. And it's like, okay, what else you got?
That's kind of one thing I've noticed from an outside perspective is I feel like wrestling now it's more of like a phase to get into. Like with the people who've made it in one industry or another, whether it's, you know, MMA or acting.
Logan
or
Paul has talked on
entertainment.
his podcast about how people started watching wrestling just because of him.
Yes.
And they were saying, where are you?
Yeah.
Like, they tune in Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown.
Yeah.
It's like, well, he's not a regular, so.
Yeah.
But they're not there for the other wrestlers.
No.
They're just watching for Logan Paul.
Logan.
Yeah, so.
Which is fine, like, that's great. But I feel like, you know, like you said, they're not there for really the sport itself. Like you guys and the other true fans. They're more of where I go on Google or YouTube and I type in Stephen Amell jumping in and seeing that video where homeboy, I think he has like a blue star on his face or whatever, pushes Steven in the head and then he jumps up and goes full arrow on. Like, that's something that I watch because of Steven himself and is very arrow-esque of him versus because it's wrestling and I know who the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know.
He actually has, because he was a fan of wrestling
Okay.
before he ever had a chance to get in it by any means. But I actually respect him because he's learned the sport.
See,
and
I
now
didn't-
he's on a show called Heels.
Yeah, heels.
Yeah, he's
Good
the
show.
star in it,
Oh.
and like it actually has CM Punk in it. He plays one of the wrestlers.
Is he the dude with the blue star thing on his face?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
not in Heels.
Gotcha.
No, but I just say like he actually like learned the business enough
Yeah.
to like they were like this guy could like do this in a show, you know. And
Yeah.
so I respect him. But yeah, I don't know, just to answer your question, I'm not a fan of outsiders coming in.
Gotcha.
Usually, it just doesn't do anything for me.
Ditto. I mean, it works sometimes, but
Now, when Donald Trump came on, you got Trump versus
Bob
Vince McMahon.
Barker. Bob Barker
Oh,
was on.
dude.
Rest in peace, Bob Barker.
Yeah, rest in
He-
peace, Bob. God, there's a lot of death recently, man.
Yeah, what the hell? 2023 ain't been pleasant to us.
Fucking crazy. But yeah, Bob Barker. Yeah, basically like any old rich white guy that came on and got into it with Vince McMahon, it was entertaining as fuck.
It was. The Trump. Well, I was gonna say, you know what really worked well was the Trump and McMahon hair versus hair match.
Yeah, was that Umaga and Bobby Lashley?
Yeah, that was in 07.
Yeah, that was actually a killer time, man.
I remember
Rest in peace to Umaga.
I had the wrestling poster in my room, like the whole card of WrestleMania 23.
Oh, really?
It was epic.
That's
it was pretty
fucking awesome.
epic. Yeah.
Damn. All right, we gotta quit talking about death.
Really depressing podcast tonight.
There's just a lot of it recently,
Yeah.
just in
Yeah.
entertainment in general. I mean,
No, there
it's
is.
fucking crazy, man.
Give us something positive, Kyle.
All right,
How
I'll
about
give you
that?
something positive. That moves us on to our next topic here with the movie. Our favorite scenes. My favorite scene, and it's just because I'm an artsy guy who likes to make independent movies, so I appreciate good direction with camera and good play in story using the video or audio elements. So there's a scene, and you guys will notice these shots. Darren Aronofsky is actually really synonymous with this in his movies, where like you're directly behind the character on screen from the back, and they're walking, and you're just following.
Yeah.
Like, because that's how the movie starts. We see his silhouette from the back, and then he's walking. We don't see his face. So that's kind of cool. It's a cool artsy thing that I like. But he does that a couple times in this movie, and it makes you just feel like, as a viewer, you're along for the ride. You know, like, I'm with this guy, we're going to this place. He first gears up to start his job as the deli associate at the grocery store. He's got the hairnet on, the apron, and he's walking through the back, and the camera's just following him. And I was like, all right, cool, there's that shot again, it's cool, whatever. But then, you know, at this point in the movie, it really adds to it, but you start to hear people chanting, Ram, Ram, Ram. Like, and you hear the audience of a wrestling crowd. but he's walking out to a deli. So that's my favorite scene because I think it captures the entire movie's point in one scene, and I love when movies do that. You got a guy who, like I said earlier, faded from glory. He's rock bottom. He's walking out to give people fucking deli meat in a hairnet. And there's nobody out there who knows who the fuck he is. One guy comes up and is like, wait a minute, you look familiar, but for the most part, no one knows who the fuck he is. And you hear this audience, and it kind of tells you, like, those are echoes of the past. That's what he wants to hear. That's what he's grown up hearing most of his life, is like people chant his name when he walks through this curtain. But when he walks through this curtain, it's gone. And I thought that scene was really cool. It's filmed well. I like the way they kind of mix in the audio of the wrestling crowd chanting. I just thought it was really cool. And like I said, I think it sums up the whole point of this movie in one shot. Just, here it is. I like that when he walks through the curtain, it just stops.
Yeah.
Just general, like, grocery store ambience.
Yeah. It's actually a very powerful scene.
Yeah, that's
like
what I mean.
Said,
it feels heavy. Yeah, it feels very meaningful. But there's no dialogue. So it's all done through video and audio. So it's really cool. What are your guys' favorite scenes?
Man, it's a cliche to say that I liked the ending scene and like the ring, and
it's my second favorite.
That was a great
scene.
there's
just something about it. Even like in the ring, like as wrestling fans, obviously there was a time in wrestling when everybody kind of believed it was real. You know what I mean? Like, believed in kayfabe and all that.
It's still real meat.
Yeah, damn, that's a great scene. But in the ring with like Ayatollah, who is real life Ernest the Cat Miller, pretty good wrestler. It was cool to see him in that role. But just him even noticing, like, Randy's obviously having those problems in the ring with his heart. You can tell he's just not having a good time. Like, he's really hurting himself, and he's even like, hey, like, there's a scene where he's even just like laying down. He's like, hey, come on, pin me, man, let's do it. We've given him what they want.
Yeah.
And Randy in his mind just thinks, I can't go home. I mean, he probably knew he was going to die in the ring, but he's like, I can't do this without doing my finisher and giving the people one last ride for it. Like, there's something about that, man. Like, I think any wrestler would appreciate that scene. I don't know if that's ever going to happen in the wrestling ring. I mean, the doctors and everything are typically pretty, if a guy can't go, a guy can't go in the ring. But, like, that to me is just...
Unless it's a tragedy like Owen Hart.
I was going to say, wrestlers have died in the ring, but, like, I don't think to Randy the Ram Robinson's capacity where he's like, I'm going to die, I'm just going to give these people what they want. It speaks to the passion and the dedication they have for the business. And, like, even if you're not a wrestling fan, just understand, like, this is their life. This is how they want to end it,
Yeah. It's also very... Because that's my second favorite scene is the ending, especially when he's, like, up on the turnbuckle getting ready to do his finisher. Because it's, like, the way it's filmed, getting artsy again, it's very symbolic. He's, like, ascended, and the lights kind of glowing behind him, and he looks very holy, and it kind of makes you feel like he's going to a better place finally after this journey of misery.
Because in his life, he feels like he has nothing left to live for. Like, he's messed up everything in his life, and he said, "This is the one thing that I have going on, and this is the one thing I'm good at. Leave it at that, and let's do it."
This brings me, and then we'll get to your favorite scene, but this brings me to my first note that I wrote down, because it's my favorite quote in this movie. The only place I get hurt is out there. The world don't give a shit about me. That's the last thing he says to Cassidy before he goes out to the ring. And that is such a meaningful quote for so many reasons. I'm sure, especially older wrestlers, could relate to that. I'm sure they feel some animosity towards family members in their life that they feel like might have not stuck with them through it all, or even friends, maybe other wrestlers, maybe their bosses, like Vince McMahon. Maybe they have this animosity and they feel like the only time that they are okay is in front of the crowd. Because if you think about this movie, the only time we see him get any kind of respect or admiration is when he's at a wrestling show. Whether it's other wrestlers or he's out in the ring, Otherwise, who the fuck are you? He goes to a fan meet and greet, and it's just a bunch of old farts sitting around with catheters hanging off their leg. And I mean, it's sad, man, but it's real. That's how it is, and it's tragic. But that ending just feels earned. You know, feels like he's gonna go to a better place. Like he wants it. So no, I'm with you, Ryan. That was my second favorite.
I'd probably have to say it's after the whole, 14 minutes ago, and the flashbacks that he had of like just that insane match.
So like showing you the sausage and then they show you how it was cooked.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's
But
an
I like
interesting
it.
way to do that for sure.
I like it because I took it more of like him just replaying the match and more of like the mental aspect of it, like the toll that it took on him physically, mentally. Because I don't believe he would have had that heart attack if he didn't do that. I think all of that is what really like got his heart to.
Yeah, but he was doing that for a bigger payday.
Right.
Because most promoters will promise you like more money
For sure.
for stuff like that. Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, however you know him, has talked about that. He's kind of a cool wrestler, Dean. I think if you watch wrestling, he would be your favorite. Up until he had an issue he had to recover from. He drank a lot of beer, smoked cigarettes, and he went out there and just fucking didn't care. Like, he just wanted to put on a show. He didn't care if he got hurt. He didn't care if you got hurt. He didn't give a fuck. And he was just... he still is, but he's had to, like, soften up a little bit because he did have an issue he had to tackle. But he's said in interviews that, like, you know, you go out there and you're accepting, like, you're going to get injured. This might be the last match. So he's like, that money's got to be good. You know, like, yeah, we love what we do, but he's like, you know, we got families we got to take care of. We got bills to pay. And he said a lot of these promoters don't want to pay. So he's like, if you're going to do shit like that, you got to, like, put your foot down and make sure they pay. And I'm glad you brought that up because another note I made is, you know, it's really tragic that he goes through all this and he wakes up in a hospital and there's nobody there. Right? Nobody.
He's all alone.
And at this point, we don't know he has family at all. We just think this guy's alone. You know, he goes to see a fucking stripper because he doesn't have anyone else to go to. When he gets the money, did you guys notice how much money is in that envelope from the promoter?
It was like a couple hundred, wasn't it?
$350.
Not a lot.
Those indie shows don't pay a lot.
That's all he got. This motherfucker had a
Go to
heart
the
attack,
hospital.
a bypass surgery. He went through hell. His body is bruised and scarred and torn apart
But
for
he's
$350, dude. It's wild. I mean, that's... Now, I will say this movie is set in 1988. That was decent money, but I don't think it's worth going through all the shit.
No.
Because he literally suffered something that pretty much ended his career, you know?
Yes.
He has something to say about that later, but he's supposed to let it end his career. And I just couldn't believe that, man. It's like, wow, that's all that's waiting for you is an envelope from a promoter with $350. I might be wrong about that, but that's what it looked like. Because there was a $100 bill, and then there were 350s, I think. Or
I don't really remember.
550s. So
I'll take your word on it.
Yeah.
either way, it's not a lot of money.
It's not.
man. It's not a lot of money. So that really hit me because I was like, if CM Punk watched this movie and said this is the most realistic, like he said, there's nothing in this movie that's not right. I was like, that really happens then.
300.
He
That
was
shit
in-
really fucking
Yeah.
happens.
He's on the money.
It's crazy, man. Now, I don't know if this is much for you unless it's like from the filming or story writing aspect.
Okay.
Do you have any nitpicks about this when it comes to being a wrestling fan and something that they try to do or show? It's tough because this movie's very well done when it comes to wrestling.
It you know, it really is. I actually wrote some notes about like things that I was gonna point as positives for it versus nitpicks because
I have no negatives.
yeah, I don't
I'll
either.
just say it.
Well, I'm like, you
It's
know,
rare.
we talked earlier about them talking over the matches and then going in and rehearsing them. Like that was something I know. I'm like, that's legitimately how it is.
Mhm.
You know, in that match, I forget the dude's name. I wrote down the Tommy match. I don't remember the fella's last name, but
For
like-
the first match,
yeah, the one, yeah, like
Mohawk guy.
Yeah, like the dude has like
I
a
can't remember.
mohawk.
Here we got this. His pictures here.
God, I don't remember the guy. Tommy Rotten.
Okay, Tommy Ryan. Yes.
So like in that match where they're like they're the main event, like there's the ref bump, and in regular people's terms, like it's something that they do to add a little bit of like like cliffhanger type shit. Like,
Yeah.
the ref goes down and the bad guy can kind of get
away with some shit.
Yeah, he can get away with some shit.
Yeah.
There's that. There's the exposed turnbuckle, which is common in wrestling, where like they have this little buckle, and when you take off the padding, it's just straight buckle, just straight pounding right into the fucking thing. And then there's blading too, which is real in wrestling. Like if you want something to look real, like say, like Deem, I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna elbow you, and I'm gonna hit you right in the head. I don't know if that's gonna make you bleed, but sometimes in wrestling, they want you to believe you hit somebody so fucking hard. And honestly, like people like Ric Flair that have been doing it for so long, shit, you could touch his forehead and it might start bleeding. Dude's forehead's paper, but you see him with the blade and he just nicks it, slips it down his back. That happens all the time. The blading aspect was real.
Modern day, all you gotta do is YouTube Chris Jericho blading AEW. He's gotten really bad at hiding.
There's a lot of really bad blade jobs in history.
He'll be laying in the ring and you'll just see him take it and just like start. It's like, oh come on, dude! Like you're supposed to hide that shit.
The last. I mean, I wrote some notes about wrestlers I saw in there too, like Necro Butcher, who's a legend in hardcore wrestling, then I just said that the Ayatollah reminded me of like. It was the 80s. It reminded me of, like, a mix of Sabu and the Iron Sheik. That's kind of what they were trying to go for, is that antagonist from outside.
I was getting, like, Hulk Hogan, Iron Sheik feud vibes from
That's
them.
what I thought when I saw it.
Yeah, like, you got the All-American and then, the evil Sheik or whatever. I don't know. It's kind of the vibe I was getting.
And the last positive I would say is I think his finisher was really effective, too. The Ram Jam. I mean, it's meant to be like a take on the flying headbutt, which was popularized by Chris Benoit, or we call him Lord Voldemort, he shall not be named. But like that's a legit, real finisher. Like that, these guys made it look real. I was going to say, I really don't have any nitpicks, man.
I don't need it. And
I think Dima would be the guy for the nitpicks.
well, Dima's my witness. I make it my mission. That's why I sit down and write in this notebook when watching these movies. I'm looking for negatives. Like I like having X's. When I have check marks, I feel like I'm not doing my job because I'm just going, oh yeah, it was great, it was fine. Like, oh, fuck that, dude.
But I feel like we should really be like the hardest on it because we're wrestling fans.
Yeah,
but at the same point, like they made it so real that it's like I really don't have anything wrong to say. Like that's exactly how the business is from the documentaries I've watched, from what I've heard from interviews.
Dude, yeah. Like I said, for me, it was CM Punk saying that. I was like, this guy wouldn't say that if he didn't mean it.
He's one of the realest.
And that doesn't mean I was being ignorant. Like, I was trying. I really was. I was like, all right. Like, I was looking for stuff. But, I mean, even on IMDb, if you go to the hiccups, it's just stupid shit. Like, Cassidy's got a knit cap and it's covering your ears, and in this scene it's not. Or, it's just stupid shit like that. But when it comes to the wrestling, any aspects of it, there's actually tons of wrestlers who will talk highly of this movie, including Mick Foley. So, yeah. This movie, from a wrestling fan standpoint, okay, Dima, calm down. For wrestling fans. From a wrestling fan standpoint, it's just very well done. It's a good look, again, behind the curtain, and something we aren't meant to see for sure. But thanks to Darren Aronofsky, we got to take that look, and it definitely added a new level of respect and appreciation for, especially the OG cowboys of wrestling, man. Like, Terry Funk, again, R.I.P., but just the things we know as fans, it's like, man, he put everything he had into this business. And it's kind of funny, I keep talking about CM Punk, but he's like CM Punk's hero. So he's the hero of my hero. So it's kind of cool. But also sucks really bad right now because, again, he just passed away. But he was old. He did live a somewhat long life. And especially considering everything he did in the business, it's amazing he made it to the age he was at.
It's ironic that you said Mick Foley, too, because, God, I'm wondering if Dima. I remember I was with a friend of mine and he like knew nothing about wrestling. And I said, "Come here, I got to show you something." And what I showed him was the Hell in a Cell match between Mick Foley and Taker back in the '90s, '97. He literally Mick Foley puts himself through fucking hell for goddamn however long that match was.
Yep.
Falls off the top of a fucking 30-foot cell.
Ring any bells? Look familiar?
No, he doesn't.
Keep talking, Ryan. Sorry.
No. I'm hoping it might ring a bell. The dude, two of the major spots in the thing, Deem, are that he falls, like, it's 30 feet up in the air. The steel, it's like they call it the Hell in a Cell. It's like a cage. It's steel. You can't get out.
It's not a normal cage match.
Yeah, right.
Hell in a
I've seen
Cell's
videos.
bigger, taller.
Have you?
Yeah.
It's meant to be more intimidating looking just by design.
Yeah, I've seen videos of this. Not like actual videos, maybe it was pictures or something, but with this one here. Not this video specifically,
That's
but
old Mick Foley.
You know, what we got over here. I was just going to keep bringing up his gimmicks, like...
But that there, when
That was the one I was going to talk
throws
about.
him over. Like, I've seen that video.
Taker, I remember, they recently, Kyle, you should watch it if you haven't, but WWE put a video up of where Mankind and Taker watched that match back. And Taker was like, after I threw you off the cell, dude, he said, I was ready to call it a day, go home. And
I gotta watch
I
that.
saw
That's
that.
crazy.
And he literally, Foley is like going to be put on a stretcher. He's laughing. He gets off of the fucking stretcher and he goes back to the top of the cage.
Yeah, because the thing
Insane, man. Just-
felt broke when it wasn't supposed to.
It
Or
was so
something.
real. It was so real that I was going to say this is why I thought of it, is because Terry Funk and him were supposed to be like bitter rivals at the time. Terry Funk was out there going, dude, you better not go back in there.
Yeah.
He's like, you just fell from 30 feet. He gets back on the top of the cage and then Taker chokeslams him and like drops him and he falls through the cell.
Yeah.
And falls like basically straight on his head. He's got internal bleeding. He's missing teeth.
Missing teeth. Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think God, you could look up the injuries he had, but like he's got internal bleeding. Dude's missing teeth. He's probably broken every goddamn bone in his body. And he's just like happy. He's just like, this is awesome. You know, like
Yeah,
it's
wild.
unbelievable.
If you look up pictures of Mick Foley, here I'll show you actually, Dima, because this is.
Is
pretty-
it about his ear?
Well, I was just gonna say, just him when he first started wrestling. It really shows what the industry did to him.
Oh wow.
Holy shit.
So that's him in high school right there. There's one picture of him I've always liked. It's a good picture. I'm not seeing it right now. Because it's like right when he first started wrestling, like professionally. I think it was like down in Texas.
Deem, I should mention that
I'm not
when he was wrestling, like I think back for WCW in like the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
he actually I think got his head or something caught in between the turns, like the actual ropes.
Oh, shit.
And the only way to get him out, I think, was to cut off part of his ear.
Yeah,
so,
he's
like,
missing most of the
if you
ear
see
from that.
him, like
Oh,
like the
fuck.
top part of your ear, like right here, he don't have it. It's gone.
Oh, that's fucking wild.
Like he's given everything to the sport.
Yeah. I mean, he was a good looking dude. You
Yeah.
know, like he looked like somebody who could potentially be a star, man.
Yeah.
He was a stud.
To be fair, he was a star. He was a hell of a
I
star.
mean,
yeah.
but like the Vince McMahon
yeah, he wasn't Vince McMahon's
superstar printer
typical
photocopy, like.
You got Jim Ross to thank for that.
But he just took a different route with wrestling, and it worked.
yeah,
But
dude,
man, it changed him. It really did.
look how young he is. Shit.
Ah, that's crazy, man. So crazy.
Holy shit. His fucking ear.
And, oh, speaking of Terry Funk, man.
They were like really good best friends in real
This is-
life too. those
Yeah,
two.
it was a good demonstration
Oh,
of
yeah.
what we're talking about right
Terry
there.
Funk took a hell
Let me
of
zoom in on
beatings.
that bad boy. Oh,
They're not showing Foley's face all cut up.
look at that.
It's
Just entangled in fucking barbed wire, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
But this is what Terry Funk like did, man. Like he's one of the OG like hardcore wrestlers,
yeah.
and this is what I mean when I say he gave everything for the business to be what it is. So it's crazy that he had the life that he did, considering, because he just like Mick Foley, no regard for his well-being. You know, just
Because that was his life. Because he's
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna give what I can.
it was
for
everything. So yeah. Dima,
Sorry.
nitpicks about this movie, besides it was slow in the beginning.
So the storyline I was satisfied with. That was a very, very interesting storyline.
I will comment, the daughter is a nice surprise. If you're a
Yes.
first-time watcher, it's a nice surprise. So.
It was really cool to see, like, not only what he went through, but what she went through growing up, where he just wasn't there. So they really played into, like, the emotional aspects of being a wrestler, and not just for him, but for the family that he abandoned.
Of course, yeah.
Now, my nitpicks come from the style of filming they did, because it just felt like I said in the beginning, it felt like a documentary, and I'm not big on those style filmings. So it's more of a preference thing than anything else. I wasn't a fan of the way it was filmed. It was very distracting, and I think that partially like took away from the movie for me. Until especially the last scene that's your favorite, with him in the ring. Like, I felt like that the camera was actually set up. It wasn't shaky. It was very focused on him, and they really emphasized Randy.
I knew that you were going to comment on the shaky cam. I knew it.
But it was distracting to me. I didn't appreciate that. At times, I thought, Mickey was just, and no disrespect to him, to his acting, but I thought he was very dull with the film.
I can see that.
He didn't really have to try, though.
Yeah.
Some wrestlers just don't have that good of a personality, too.
Yeah, and I actually listened to a podcast where they talked about the wrestler a couple months ago, and I remember this one guy pointed something out about it that's so true. If you look at the life of Mickey Rourke as a person, whether it's an actor, well, let me just say this, a failed actor, a failed boxer, a failed everything. Dude was at rock bottom, and then he made his comeback. He had some terrible plastic surgery done, trying to look young again.
Yeah.
And it didn't really work out until this movie. This movie is what really got him to come back. And one could definitely argue, as this guy does on the podcast, that this character is literally Mickey Rourke. Like, he's a guy who has failed in life. He's at rock bottom. He's trying to make a comeback. And I think Mickey Rourke was just being himself in this movie. I'm not trying to discredit his acting, but I'm just saying I don't think he had to put too much into the character. And what's funny is, well, fun fact, Darren Aronofsky wanted him from start. Like, he wanted it to be Mickey Rourke. He eyed him for this role. He thought he fit it perfectly. And I agree.
Yeah.
The studio wanted Nicolas Cage.
Oh, God.
Why?
I don't know, and he fought them with it for a long time, and they finally said, fine, do what you want. And that was only because I learned that Nicolas Cage didn't want to take steroids. They wanted Nicolas Cage to take steroids to get buff. And he didn't want to do that, but he also said the training camp he'd have to go through to get that big would take way too long to meet the filming demands, schedule-wise. So Nicolas Cage was out. He didn't want to juice. And Rourke was already a bigger guy. He got into shape in 5 months for the movie. He put on like 65 pounds. So, yeah, he did work. But, yeah, so it's kind of funny. Like, can you imagine Nicolas Cage in this movie?
I can't. That's insane.
No, it's definitely a good casting call for him.
It'd be different, that's for sure. That would be different.
But it wasn't really him. Like, I liked Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of her.
I like her, but even in this movie, I thought she was subpar.
Really?
Yeah, like, I thought she did a great job for what she was giving, but even then, like, considering what she's doing now, granted, this movie's 15 years old.
Yeah.
It is 15 years ago. All of these actors have had, and people have had time to become better.
Man. You know Disney's wanting to scratch out history of her walking around with her nipples pierced.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Sweet old innocent Aunt May.
But it just... I don't know. I feel like there was times where the writing was subpar. And I feel like there was times where the writing was phenomenal, whether that was because of, or what scenes were phenomenal, and whether that was the actors themselves.
I feel like you wanted more out of the story.
I did. It was definitely not what...
And I'm not going
I
to
was thinking.
defend this like I usually would when you and I disagree on something, because I can acknowledge that if you're not a wrestling fan, that means you're probably not going to get into the story.
No.
Like I said, I know people who have, but it doesn't mean you will. It's not guaranteed. So if you're not into the story as is,
Yeah.
it's going to be hard for you to like the movie overall.
It's very true. I agree.
Because if you ask me and probably Ryan, I don't think any more needed to be added. The story was what it needed to be. I mean, they could have had more wrestling matches, I guess, but
Agreed.
that's about it.
Now, don't get me wrong. Like I've said a few times already, I have a mass respect for the industry more now than I ever have because I never understood it. I think as a non-wrestling fan, you can take so much out of this movie with the way the world is in the industry and with the way and with the shit that they put themselves through. I think you can grow a mass respect for it. But I just...
Wasn't feeling it.
it wasn't my style. But it was a decent movie, and I thought the storyline was great. I just thought it was more subpar than excellent. Other than the storyline itself. Like I said, I thought the storyline was definitely a 10 out of 10. It was great.
There is a scene that I wish was extended. There's probably an extended cut because it feels a little rushed. But he probably had, like, studio time constraints that he had to meet for this movie to have. Because it sounds like he was kind of battling. Most of his movies, it sounds like he battles to get them out.
Oh my god, that's
well, it's
annoying
because
for him.
he's definitely like a pioneer. Like, he makes movies that are very different. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Requiem for a Dream with Jared Leto.
I don't
It's very similar to this in terms of, like, you're following him like a documentary. It's got shaky cam and all that shit. But he's a heroin addict. And it shows the life of a heroin addict. And then he's got a movie called Black Swan that is focused on a struggling ballerina.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
And then he actually did Elephant, the new A24 movie that I just watched last night.
Really?
Yeah, which that movie's... That's focusing on an obese person who's stuck in their house. Like, his movies are very much character studies of unorthodox in terms of, like, what Hollywood looks for like, money. Like, these aren't movies that, like, you would pitch to executives and they'd be like, oh, yeah, make that ASAP, you know, that's going to make us lots of money. Like, you can't make toys out of these characters. You can't make merchandise.
Sure.
It's very, like I said, unorthodox, but to me that's interesting. And all of his movies I like.
Yeah.
He hasn't made a movie that I don't like. So, I just wanted to say that. And shit, I forgot the point we were on with that. Oh, the scene that I want extended.
Yes.
Jeez. Okay. But anyways, so the scene that I would want extended is when Randy is kind of realizing that this new way of life maybe isn't going to work out for him because, I forgot her name right now. Marissa Tomei's character. Cassidy, thank you.
Pam.
Cassidy flip script on him after they made out the bar. She panics, like, no, you're a customer. And then, like, things fall out with his daughter again, and he's just like, fuck it. And he goes to a wrestling show, runs into Ron Killings, R-Truth, and goes to a party. And that's what I would like to see more of. Because, for one, I think it'd be awesome to see the eclectic group of wrestlers we got in this movie. Which we were talking about some, but we got R-Truth, Claudio, Austin Aries, Blue Meanie. All these, it's just a weird group of wrestlers. And it would be cool to have because I like to imagine they're all at this party, but, you know, it's a very, like, character-driven movie, and it's just focused on Randy. So we just see him mingling with this, you know, blonde bimbo, and he ends up doing coke and doing her in the bathroom. And it's like, I would love to see an extended cut of just the party scene with, like, fucking R-Truth, like, tearing it up with Randy. And I don't know, like, I think that'd be really entertaining. R-Truth, Dima, is a very entertaining wrestler.
Okay.
He's, for one, I hate using this word, but I think he's very underrated.
Hmm.
The dude was so fucking good in his prime, and he's like, I don't know, his late 50s now.
He doesn't look like he's aged though.
No, dude, he literally looks like he's still in his 20s. He can still do all the because he's got some pretty impressive moves that he does. He can still do all that shit, and he's very fucking entertaining without even trying. He's known for making people break character, like Brock Lesnar, that never break character because he's so fucking funny.
Okay.
But he's just a great character, and it sucks that he's in this movie for a hot second, and then that's it. I was just like, man, if there was like a party scene with Randy and R-Truth, like you got a younger wrestler, like, oh, come on, Randy. Like, I don't know.
What's that coke, Randy?
That's the thing about this movie is I feel like, if you're not a wrestling fan, if you're like me versus y'all, I don't think you can really appreciate the people you see in this movie.
Of course.
Because,
well, yeah.
one, no idea who the dude is.
Right.
Two, I don't even remember seeing him in the movie because to me he didn't mean anything. And it's not like, y'all where you saw him and I was like, oh shit, that's awesome. Me, he's just another dude and I'm assuming he's an extra.
I was
or
looking,
something.
like even this time around, because I couldn't remember who was in the movie, I was like looking in the background in the locker rooms and shit.
That's wild.
Like, because I was like, there's gotta be real wrestlers in this movie, which there's a ton of. But
See, I almost wish they, like my scene, or part of the movie where I think that they should have extended a little bit was a little more with him and his daughter. Because I feel like it was very rushed in the sense of, you want nothing to do with him, he buys you a jacket, you hang out for a day, you plan dinner, and then he's the worst dude ever, and you're acting like you got to build a relationship there, and then he ruined that relationship. All you had was one day of hanging out.
But, alright, so you and I do this a lot. We both have something that we have an issue with, but I find most of the time I'm able to talk myself out of it, where you're just like, fuck that. So I'm going to tell you my defense on that.
Okay.
Because that would have been my one nitpick in this movie.
I'll probably agree with it, with what you're about to say.
Could you not argue that she would be so desperate for that one time?
No, 100%.
Okay.
100%.
Because that's what made me pass that. I was like, you know what? Pass.
And it's not really like a nitpick for me, it's just...
You would have liked more build.
I would have liked a little more build.
I'm the same way.
And it's
I
not
get
that
that,
I was
but
upset about it, like, I just want more.
Accepted.
Because I feel like it went from here to here to here real quick. And I just wish they would have built on it a little more.
Yeah, just being aware of how studios are with
For
run
sure.
times and her being a very minuscule
wasn't
character
important
in the
at all,
grand
no.
scheme.
But
Like, she's literally a little speed bump.
I feel
honestly.
like it played a big part in the way he ended his life in the movie.
Yeah.
Because she said, fuck you, I want nothing to do with you. I never
that's
want to
what I
see
mean.
you. I never want to hear from you.
He dipped his toes in the pond labeled normal life,
Yes.
and the water wasn't for him. Like,
Yes.
he wanted a different
He said,
temperature.
okay, fuck
So
this.
he went back to what he was used to.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's not really a bad thing.
It's very, very abrupt.
So, it's just, I wish there was a little, just a hint more. Just 5 more minutes. That's all I wanted.
Alright, well, that's pretty much all I got to talk about this movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, newfound respect for legends in the industry, maybe those who aren't recognized in the industry that should be. I don't know, just all around, I have a lot of respect and admiration, more so than I did already, because this sheds light on something that, especially big companies like WWE, probably wouldn't want you to know about. That these people that we idolize go through. So, yeah, I really like this movie. Now, I got a question for you guys. If you could be a wrestler, what would your name be and what would your gimmick be?
Oh, God.
I think we already knew.
Well, I know Demos, yeah.
Yeah. Stingray. What's your gimmick, Stingray? What do you do? What are you all about?
Stings the
I'll probably have to.
I'm gonna sting you.
I'll probably have to go back to, like, me of 6 months ago. I'd be dipping and spitting all these people.
Stingray dips.
Yeah, I'd just probably
Stingray
throw
dipper.
Fatty in and then pin them and call it a day.
So you're gonna be a jobber for sure.
Kyle, what are you gonna do?
So I have my gimmick. Like, I have the concept. The name is something I'm still kind of trying to figure out because there's a lot of names that could be cool, but also kind of cringy. But I think the concept is really interesting. Because I asked myself, okay, if I'm at a wrestling show, right, what would be something that would have me on my toes? A wrestler who is like a chameleon. Like, every show, he is dressed differently and looks different and can come over the barrier at any point and attack other wrestlers. And, like, that wrestler would just be somebody who you never really know what their name is or what they look like or sound like because they're always acting and sounding different. I think that'd be a cool character.
You could be the chameleon.
It's a wild card, man. So that'd be my thing. 'Cause I think for me that'd be fun to do. Like, oh man, this week I'm gonna dress up like a thug. You know what I mean? It's gonna look like real gangster.
No, I'm here for it.
I'll be
Next
over there like, hey man, shit, fuck you. Yeah, fuck you, Roman Reigns, bitch. And then like
next week he
goes and
comes
does
dressed
his
up
thing.
as a clown or something.
Yeah. Or maybe I'm in there in a wheelchair and people think I'm handicapped.
It's
and then I jump up and I throw the wheelchair in the ring. Like, you can't tell me if you were in the crowd.
It's
You'd be
pretty
like,
cool.
holy shit, it's the chameleon. Like,
Yeah.
No, I'm here for that.
I like that a lot.
Alright, that's my idea.
I actually had a wrestling name when I was younger that I
Oh,
wanted to go
shit.
with. When I was like
Alright.
super into wrestling. I wanted to be called Riot Ryan.
That's cool.
And I wanted to come out to Riot by 3 Days Grace.
Oh, dude.
And I don't know what the hell the gimmick would have been. I probably just would have tried to be like a legit tough badass guy, right? Like, even though I don't really look it. But like, I don't know. That was like when I was a kid, that's what I wanted to be. Because like I grew up and like, I think my favorite star, like when I was super, super young was Batista. And I was like, I just liked Batista. Like, he didn't really have a gimmick. He was just like, I'm a tough motherfucker. I'm going to come out and I'm going to kick your ass and I'm going to win the belt. It's kind of what I wanted. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool as I always.
That's awesome.
It's funny you just mentioned him because, and also I gotta just say, like, it would have been funny if that happened for you, and then like Ruby Riot comes, and then like you guys become a wrestling couple or
I
something.
work with Ruby Riot, yeah. No, but
I'd probably
we're the
change
new
mine.
Dominic and Mommy, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'd probably change mine to hint more towards like Nightmare-esque. Just like hide in the shadows.
I'm gonna tell you right now,
Utilize my
Dima,
That's cool.
hatchet.
the
That's
reason
cool.
I was a fan of Sting as a kid is because of this. Like, that's
Yeah.
one of my favorite movies of all time. He even said that inspired his character.
Dude, that's awesome. I
And
respect
when
it.
he first appeared up in the rafters with the spotlight, he originally just had like all white face paint.
Okay.
But it was just like, whoa, what's going on with Sting? Like,
Yeah.
and then he started evolving into like what he is now. It was just like, dude, this guy's so cool and mysterious. He'd come down the rafters with a baseball bat and start swinging on motherfuckers. Like,
Yeah,
so no,
I'd
the
probably-
dark, mysterious route is definitely a good one to go.
Yeah.
That's a big part of why Bray Wyatt was so popular. Because he went from Husky Harris, who was just like generic cowboy wrestler, like,
Terrible.
okay, we got a bunch of Trevor Murdochs and all, you know, it's like, we got them. And then he reinvented himself, which is what he was so good at doing,
Okay.
like Chris Jericho.
Yes, sir.
But he played in that dark, kind of
Yeah.
mysterious realm very, very well. So, yeah, that's a good route to go. For sure.
Dude, looks like those people at haunted houses.
Who?
Bray.
Oh, dude.
You said he was like a cowboy dude?
Yeah, Husky Harris was his
Are you
original.
thinking of Skip Sheffield? Like back in the day?
Skip
Like
Sheffield.
Ryback?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another guy. There was a dude named Skip Sheffield, Dima, that was like, I don't really remember his gimmick. Was he just like basic, or why did I feel like he had a southern twist or something?
Yeah, he came out to like some cowboy thing, and
But then he repackaged himself as Ryback, the unbeatable beast that like can't be beaten or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
like, people repackage.
hold on, you can't
themselves.
find him, Dima? Hold on. Yeah, Husky Harris. Yeah, he had these cowboy boots and.
That's weird.
So this was funny. Cody Rhodes was his.
Seeing him then to what he became.
Oh, I know,
It looks like he lost a lot of weight significantly too after he got over that gimmick.
dude. Yeah, but Cody Rhodes. There's a video going around on TikTok right now. It's pretty funny because how NXT started, Dima. NXT is now just another brand in WWE, but it's like they're developmental. But you're also going to be on TV and be in front of a live crowd every week.
Oh.
but they're based down in Florida, which their developmental has been centralized down there for a long time. But they branded it and made it a thing that makes money now.
Gotcha.
Which is smart.
Yeah.
But anyways, it started off being a thing where you had indie wrestlers come in, guys who just been on the road, and they got put with a professional. Like, so Cody Rhodes was a professional to be superstar at the time. And they had, like, Daniel Bryan and, I don't know, other people. But anyways, there's a video going up Cody. He rage fits when, because every week an independent wrestler got voted off the show. Like you ain't going to make it, dude. The week that they let go of Husky, Cody Rhodes fucking throws a conniption in front of the audience. It's funny as hell.
Holy shit.
Very entertaining. He roasts all the professionals that are on the stage, and most of it I agree with. It's pretty fucking funny. And then he like goes down to the ring, and there's like a point where Husky's actually like trying to stop him. Like, dude,
Chill, bro. Chill.
it's really funny though, and it's kind of weird because like I know you don't know this, but for anybody who knows Cody Rhodes' journey, it's wild that he's back in the WWE and was able to come out and speak on the night of the memorial show for Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Being that he was with him in the beginning of his career, so it's kind of a cool full circle thing.
It's cool.
And Cody is so good at speeches, man. He really can hit your heartstrings. So, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I was making a point earlier, and I can't remember what it is now. My tangents.
We just keep doing that.
I know. It was something to do with Sting, your gimmick.
We lost it, man.
Oh, Batista.
Yes, Batista.
Okay. So, for anyone who follows us on Instagram, I'm really surprised I remember that. I've been posting. There's a wrestling page I follow on Instagram where they just share like iconic moments in like little short reels on Instagram, and I was kind of posting those, and I'll keep posting them probably up until when this is posted on our YouTube and Spotify. But the first one I shared was Batista's entrance. It's what many people consider his best version of his entrance. I want to say it's WrestleMania 2008. But he comes out to his music. He's jumping around. He looks like he's in the best shape of his life. I think a lot of people consider it prime Batista. But the way he, like, grips and freaking, like, goes with the fireworks, it's iconic, man. It's such a killer entrance. And I was with you. Like, when I was younger, I thought Batista was the shit. I hated John Cena.
I didn't like John Cena either.
Hated John Cena. God.
I liked him for like that 2-year period where he was just Thugonomics.
Thugonomics, man.
And he would say FU and SDFU, and then
Dude.
as soon as he took that away, I was like, I don't give a shit
as
about
soon
this
as
guy.
PG John Cena entered the ring, I was done with him. And when he went to Hollywood, I was like, see you later.
He was Fred's dad.
Fred's dad.
I need
Alright, please.
shot. Alright, now, this is an interesting time in wrestling because, yes, we do have some sadness, but we also have some really exciting stuff going on in the world of AEW. Nemo, I'm going to spit some facts at you real quick.
Go for it.
How do you spell Wembley? Is it just
Wembley's,
how it sounds?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go.
Look at this, Nemo. You want to know something crazy? That ever loads. Alright. So, this right here just looks like another wrestling pay-per-view, right?
Yes.
This is the biggest wrestling event in history. Okay? This company is what? 3 years old?
3 years old.
Okay? WWE's been around for decades. They are outselling WWE's biggest WrestleMania, which I believe was in Texas. WrestleMania
31 or 33. Or maybe 32.
Oh, somewhere, yeah, but dude, it's over 83,000 people.
Holy
I think.
shit.
I think it's over 83. But can you imagine being in a stadium with even 70,000 people? Like,
Oh, 1,000 people and I'm satisfied.
this company that has only been around for 3 fucking years. This is happening tonight. Like, at the time of this recording, guys, we record on Sundays. This is happening tonight in London. It's AEW's first time in the UK, and they are breaking a fucking record set by the Tyrant WWE. Wild, man.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I'm also gonna say something else, Dima. On here, on this card, the faces you see, there are more non-WWE guys, as people like to say, than there are WWE guys. Okay?
I'd like to point out it was WrestleMania 32. They beat it by just the nick of their teeth. Apparently All In has 80,846, and WrestleMania 32 had 80,709. They actually said the largest attendance record in wrestling period was apparently, it was like this 2-day thing. It was called Collision in Korea, which was a 2-day supercard co-promoted by New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is like the WWE of Japan, and WCW. The second night with a crowd of 165,000.
Oh, so in one night they had
Yeah, I guess if you're not counting like overseas, this is the biggest. Well, I mean,
I was gonna say, 'cause that's overseas too. That's interesting because they've been promoting it as the biggest wrestling, but maybe they're counting because.
Well, it's in North Korea. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
I think they said that event was in North Korea, and it was like, I don't know, like they could be skewing the records. I don't know.
It's interesting, but
just something to bring up. Yeah.
It does not take away from the fact that they are beating a record set by WWE.
Yeah, that's insane.
And again, you look on the card, you got more people who weren't with WWE. So
important to notice that All In name was what started AEW too. Back in 2018, they had the largest independent promotion show, and it started from like this Jeff Meltzer guy that like is like in charge of PW or what's the name of their shit? The sports letter wrestling news, the wrestling Observer Wrestling News.
Yeah.
So like he essentially wrote out a tweet and said there's never going to be a show like an indie show that'll gross 10,000. And Cody Rhodes, the guy we were talking about earlier, said, "All right, we'll take you up on that bet." And they actually did 10,000 in Chicago.
Oh wow!
So Tony Khan said, "Fuck it, I want to go to London. I want to make this the biggest event ever, and we're going to call it All In." It's like the second All In. The first All In was pretty damn good too. So.
Yeah.
Who's to say that this one won't be better, though?
But it's how AEW started.
Yep.
You know.
They kept the name.
They kept this name. You could basically say this is like their version of WrestleMania to a degree. What I like about it, because WrestleMania, yeah, it's awesome. I would love to go somewhere during a WrestleMania weekend and just experience everything. That is on my to-do list one day. But it's become more of like a spectacle than just a wrestling show. And what I like about All In is, up until this point, it's been wrestling. Like, it's not, let's have this celebrity come out and do this, or it's just a big wrestling show, and it sticks to that. And a lot of people wanted that with WWE for a long time. You know, like
it was in Pyongyang, North Korea. They said that the first night was 150,000, and the second night was 165,000.
Damn.
I wonder if that has to do with like their population too, though.
They said the fourth one was an event that took place in Athens, Greece, in 1933 that had 80,000+, but they don't really have an exact number.
Yeah.
So a lot of these could potentially be skewed. I don't know.
But it's still crazy, and they do have like one thing going for them, other than like, yeah, it's not WWE. It's something new coming to the UK for the first time. But they also, and this is brilliant on Tony Khan's part, New Japan Pro Wrestling that he just mentioned actually works in tangent with AEW. Like, they have an event called Forbidden Door where it's like cross-brand promotion, like wrestlers with this company, or they can have matches together. And that's kind of like bled into other things now. So we have wrestlers like Will Ospreay, who is in a match with Chris Jericho. And it was a match that was supposed to happen pre-COVID, and it didn't. And now this match that everyone's wanted for a long time is happening at this. But Will Ospreay, he's a big wrestler just in the world in general right now. But over in the UK, oh yeah, he's fucking hot shit, dude. You tell them that he's wrestling one of the greatest, Chris Jericho, people are going to fucking turn out for that.
It's important to point out, too, that I think WWE had a couple of shows in, like, England. I think one of them was like back in 02. It was called Insurrection, and it was in
Oh, yeah.
England, but I
Yeah.
don't even think it nearly did all in numbers. So like
No.
it's not like WWE can't make a show over there, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be
It
this
just
wild
doesn't
big
turn out.
spectacle.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm excited for this. Now,
Me too.
we can do some predictions really quick, Ryan, if you want.
What are the matches? What do we got?
All right, so we've got. Let me see here. I thought I'd be able to look at this and remember them, but some of them are kind of weird because the Stadium Stampede match
I love that shit.
is like so crazy now because we've got Blackpool Combat Club without Bryan Danielson, and then yeah, we're just gonna have to look up the match card.
I got it.
Okay, all right.
Let's see here.
I got Stingray up in here.
So
Swear to God.
I'll start from the bottom. They got, is that a zero? Oh, they put that as a 0 hour match. Man, that's kind of sucks. They have like a 1 hour prior like pre-show.
The
That's called
buy-in?
0 hour.
Or, yeah,
And one of them was Jack Perry versus Hook for the FTW belt.
I saw that last night.
And
yeah.
yeah, I would have booked Jungle Boy to win over it, but I don't know what the direction they're going with it.
I have a prediction with that.
Go for it.
I think somebody is going. I think the match will be illegitimate, and
Fair.
someone will come out to the aid of Hook, and then Hook will turn on them, and Jack Perry and Hook will be a heel tag team.
That'd be kind of
I
cool.
think Hook being a baby face is going to be boring. It's already
Yeah.
kind of getting boring, to be honest with you. I'm a big Hook fan. Technically, he's awesome. I like his attitude. It would be great as a heel.
It would.
So,
What about the Aussie Open MJF Adam Cole tag match? I don't think they put the belts on him, but I want to say that they do.
it would be interesting if they did, because I want MJF to win tonight.
I do too.
I don't want Adam Cole to win, and I think it'd be interesting for them to have the tag team championships,
And then them go into the world title match after winning the tag match.
and then Adam loses, so he has to be a partner with his friend who beat him and can say, "I'm better than you," and you know it. So that would be interesting. But I'm with you. The Aussie Open they'll probably win. There might actually be a fallout in that match to really build up to the championship match between Adam Cole and MJF. So,
Next on the card, which looks like they just added it, is the Acclaimed with
Yeah.
Badass Billy Gunn
Yeah.
versus the House of Black.
Um,
I think normally you should have the House of Black win.
yes.
The House always wins. That's going to be my prediction, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them, like, I don't know. I think it makes more sense for the House of Black to win, and maybe Billy Gunn wants to retire in London. That'd be a hell of a send-off.
It would be. It would be. Yeah,
But
I'm
that-
hoping they don't do some stupid what they think is fan service and have the Acclaim win.
Oh, and then there's another match that got added that it's just kind of interesting. They have the tag of Darby Allin and Sting. It'd be
Yes.
cool to see Sting in London
Yep.
versus Swerve and Christian Cage in a coffin match.
Yeah, Christian. Yeah, that's been an interesting, quick development.
I think it's an easy win for Sting and Darby.
It
I
is.
mean, it kind of seems like a weird match because Christian hasn't really been feuding with them.
Yeah, it was very quick. I've almost been wondering if there were issues with like visas or something to where they had to change the match.
Probably. Because
But-
Swerve's other guy is AR Fox.
AR Fox, yeah, I couldn't remember his name for a second.
Maybe he has visa issues.
That's like because it just seemed very abrupt. Like, oh, let's bring Christian and Luchasaurus out. And,
The next one, however, is I think one that you'll probably have some opinions on, is Punk and Joe for the Real World Championship. Who walks out of Wembley with the world title?
just because I love them feuding, I want Joe to win.
I think it'd be a smart play to have
The
Joe win.
feud stops if Punk wins.
I'm gonna book Joe over it too.
Okay,
I
alright.
want Joe to win. I think it could go either way.
Can you imagine Tyrant Samoa Joe with the TV championship, RH, and then he's got the Real World's champion for AEW? Oh my gosh. Punk would be, because hey, Punk's an ROH guy.
He is
So
an ROH guy.
you got Joe, who he had his feud. It was birthed in ROH, and now he's gonna have his Real World Championship. That is setting up for some good storytelling.
All right, Kyle, the next match is the Stadium Stampede match. The Blackpool Combat Club with the newly reformed Proud and Powerful Santana and Ortiz versus the Best Friends with Orange Cassidy, Eddie Kingston, and Penta El Zero Miedo.
What is that?
Blackpool Combat Club wins for me hands down because the pair. I bet they just wanted to have a cool match, but it doesn't make sense for those 5 to be partnered together. Blackpool should win.
Yeah, Eddie Kingston will lose his. Well, he's gonna have tunnel vision for Claudio, first of all.
Of course.
And then there's gonna be something where him and Mox can't fight, and yeah, that team is doomed from the start. Honestly,
It's going to be an entertaining match,
Oh, it'll be really good.
but we
It'll
know
be
who's
really
going to
good.
walk out.
You got a lot of guys. Honestly, every guy in that match is willing to get down and dirty. You know, they're all willing to get hardcore, so that'll be cool.
Well, that brings us to the Chris Jericho and Will Ospreay match.
I think Ospreay.
You think Ospreay?
I think-
I'll go Jericho.
Okay.
I think Jericho needs a win to get him back on top, man.
He does. I don't know.
I think it'd be important. I don't know. I think Ospreay probably looked up to Jericho maybe when he was younger and wants to give him a win in Wembley, but we'll see. We'll see.
I just feel like because the story with Chris Jericho has been interesting, and it's kind of felt undecided, you know, in which direction they're going with him. And I almost wonder if something is going to happen in this match. Maybe this won't be a legitimate match, but I do see Ospreay walking with the W
Yeah.
at the end, again, to further the storyline. That's one thing I will say with this. For such a legendary pay-per-view, just
Yep.
an event in wrestling in general, some of these stories have developed very quickly, and I feel like for them to just resolve would be too soon. I think some of them, and yeah, that's not the case with CM Punk and Samoa Joe by any means, but God, dude, them feuding together is so good.
All right, my man. That brings us to the Golden Elite with Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, my personal favorite current modern wrestler. And
Wait, Kenny Omega or Adam?
Kenny Omega.
Okay, yeah.
I fucking love
Kenny Omega's amazing, dude.
Douche.
Did you just say Kenny Omega's a douchebag?
No, I'm trying to figure out who these people I'm looking at.
You're
I
looking
can't
at
read.
probably Will Ospreay.
Wait, what,
No, Jack Perry. Which one is he?
Oh, have you seen Kyle? Have you seen the memes where they look like they compare him to Hyde from the '70s show?
Oh, thank you, sir.
No.
Dude, like one of his little, you can look it up, but like he had like a appearance where he had like his hair like pulled back, and he had like a leather jacket and the hide shades, and it looked like let me see right there. You can't tell me it's not dead on.
That's
almost.
funny as hell.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, hold on, Deem, I wanted you to see what Jack Perry was looking like until
Before
recently.
his heel turn, yeah.
Yes.
That was his babyface run.
Is there one? I want him on
Why does he
Lucha.
look like a surfer from the 90s, though? Or early 2000s?
This was the tag team.
Oh, dude, this is a throwback right here.
Oh God, Marco Stunt.
Margaret, yeah.
You should look
What?
up a picture of
Oh.
Griff Garrison. That's the real surfer.
No, dude, yeah.
Dude, he looks like the dude from Stranger Things.
He kind of does.
But they'd come out. He
To,
was
like,
riding on his shoulders.
To
It was all-
Baltimora, Tarzan boy.
Fascinating.
It was
Yeah.
so goofy. I hated the baby face run with them. I really hated it.
Alright.
I don't get why I don't get why Tony let him go for that long. Yeah, they were called Jurassic Express.
Gotcha.
There is something that AEW is doing too much of for me. Because I'm not going to say AEW is perfect by any means. They
No,
have their
hell no.
flaws just like any other wrestling promotion. I'm tired of... You've got someone... Luchasaurus is a great example.
Failed potential.
Yeah, like the
Strip
heel
the
turn...
mask off and make him a
Dude, yeah.
badass heel.
The heel turn for me, that was like, okay, he's done with this stupid boy and his dinosaur bullshit.
He's still wearing it.
But he comes out in a black one, and then he's paired with Christian, and I'm just like, this is my issue. Quit taking these younger guys with so much potential and fucking putting them under someone who's already established a legacy. Like,
Same.
yeah, Christian Cage is a phenomenal heel. I'm all about him being a heel. He's
Yeah.
brutal on the mic.
He's good.
That dude hits some fucking... He hits some notes he probably
Your
shouldn't
father
hit.
is dead.
Jeez,
Yikes.
dude. Oh my god.
It's always like the dead father with Christian.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
My brother, who's also a wrestling fan, is like, oh no, it's Christian. Here come the dead dad jokes.
It was a couple weeks ago. Because anytime I watch... I'm usually like laying in bed next to Abby, and she'll be on her TikTok or playing Animal Crossing on the Switch. But either way, she'll be doing something, and she'll just kind of look up when she hears something going on, and she'll kind of pay attention. He was doing a promo backstage with his daughter next to him, and he doesn't tell her to shut up, but he says something basically suggesting she should be quiet.
Oh, the little girl on Collision?
Yeah, and then he
I
tells
saw
her to
that.
go find her mom and get out of here. And Abby's just like, holy shit, dude. I was like, yeah, that's Christian. That's...
You had a father,
Gotcha.
but your father's dead. And then he cut that promo on Wardlow, and he goes, you had a father, but I'm not going to go down that road because, frankly, nobody cares about your father.
Oh
Nobody
my
knows
God,
who he
dude.
is.
It's so bad.
Brutal shit, man.
But again, yeah, he's great at it, but I wish they would quit putting wrestlers with these older guys and they just kind of follow in their shadows. I'm not the biggest fan of the Jericho Appreciation Society. That's why I was kind of glad it started to break up a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of was getting old, Jericho having a stable and just getting different names, but it's just like, I don't know.
Well, the match I meant to bring up earlier was the Golden Elite with Omega, Adam Page, and Kota Ibushi.
Oh yeah, we totally skipped over that.
Against Bullet Club Gold, who's one of my favorite tag teams right now.
Juice.
And oh god, what's that guy's? I don't want to butcher his name. Konosuke Takeshita.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm not a fan of his in the heel run right now. I'm not with Don Callis.
It's
Just seems
kinda-
kind of lackluster.
It's kind of, yeah, it is. He kind of just feels like he's floating around too, because he was with BBC. But
I would vote on the Golden Elite because I like them, and I think that Kenny Omega just needs to win at this point. Same with the other situation with Chris Jericho.
tell me this match doesn't feel like there's going to be somebody turning on somebody.
Has to be. Maybe Kota Ibushi.
That's, yeah.
I mean, the Golden Elite haven't really, like, with him and Omega, they haven't really been, like, consistently tagging together.
Yeah.
That's probably my prediction.
Now, what would be devastating to us as wrestling fans, but it would be very interesting, and I always like to just throw these things in the mix. We have recently had a Elite-assance, if you will, with Adam Hangman Page coming back into the fold with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, right?
That's interesting.
Fucking awesome. And Kenny Omega and him were the AEW Tag Team Championships, and that was awesome. And we're all excited, and everything's hunky-dory. But that's when wrestling gets boring.
Yeah.
I think, because when I said, do you see a turn in this match, I could see Adam or Kenny turning on one another.
I liked Kenny heel, but I think they're invested too much in him as a babyface right now.
I think it's Adam's time.
A Hangman, yeah, because we haven't gotten to see too much of him as a heel, and honestly, some of the babyface run he's had has been kind of stupid.
Yeah,
You know?
it's just kind of been,
It's my brother's favorite wrestler too, and he'll even go, dude.
It-
Hangman's had some stupid shit go on.
yeah, it's been crazy. Dude, wasn't that wild to witness him get injured
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was.
with Mox? Dude, that's
Good on them for improvising that last bit with MJF. though.
Yeah.
Next match, Saraya, Hikaru Shida, Toni Storm, Britt Baker, AEW Women's World Title. Who walks out?
Well, all right, we already know Saraya and Toni Storm are going to have issues because they're in a faction together. So.
I want to see Britt Baker bring that belt back, man.
Dude, she's awesome.
There was not a
I-
better women's world title champion in my opinion than Baker. Ever since Baker hasn't had the belt, I mean, Toni Storm is a champion.
Let's call it right now. Here's my prediction.
Go for it.
Play by play. Toni Storm is about to get the pin on Britt Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then Saraya breaks the pin. They start squabbling because obviously Toni Storm has kind of assumed the role as like a leader in their group
Right.
and thinks that that's her belt because she's the one that held it last between the three. I could see that happening. and then Britt's able to capitalize on the situation and get the belt back.
That'd be cool.
That would be. So that's what I want.
Well, lots to play out there. 2 more matches we kind of have to talk about. FTR and the Bucks. The rubber match.
I'm honestly so excited for this match, dude. FTR
I'm
is
team FTR all the way.
so fucking good.
I love the Bucks, but I think FTR needs to win this.
Okay. I hate to keep breaking away from the match card. There's something very interesting at play right here. So, wouldn't it be interesting if FTR, because it's kind of been teased subtly, FTR and MJF were
Getting back
working in
together.
cohesion again. But MJF and CM Punk both have AEW titles.
Their rubber match.
Spicy.
Shit.
Dude, it's going to be an awesome match, though. I mean, Bucks and FTR, that's going to be phenomenal.
I just hope it's booked well, man.
I don't know who I call winning it, though, to be honest with you. If I have to pick, I'm going to say FTR, just because I'm an FTR fan.
But I could see the Bucks winning it too, because there's a lot of outside factors going into play. The Bucks and a certain Phil aren't on good terms at all,
Yeah, that's what I was...
and FTR are best buddies with Phil.
That's why I wanted to bring up the CM Punk thing.
And I wonder how that's going to go, because I'm surprised to see those 2 tag teams working together at all.
I feel like if they are to keep the titles, they might get nudged into being more with MJF or just not being with CM Punk.
That's my fear. It's not like the Bucks don't deserve the titles, but FTR's had such a good run lately.
Dude, yeah. But I'm sure it's driving some of those on the other side of things crazy to seeing Punk holding up his championship alongside FTR for their championship.
I still think that, I don't know, they've got to have some kind of... I'm wondering if, when Punk came back, right? Because, all the controversy, it'd take something really big for Punk to go, you know what, fuck it, I'll come back.
Yeah.
Because it's from what I understood, he didn't want anything to do with the company.
Yeah.
It's almost like Tony Khan straight said, you know what, you're going to have this show. Collision's going to be your show. You can pick the guys that you want to be surrounded by, and we'll keep the Bucks, we'll keep Jericho, we'll keep Kenny and Hangman all over on this show.
Yeah.
You run Saturdays, we'll run our Wednesdays. If you need to be on a pay-per-view card, he's at All In.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, him and Joe are fighting. You can be at the pay-per-views, but I don't want any bullshit between the both of you. I think it's enough for Punk to say, you know what? I'll book this show. I'll make it. It's almost like he's handing him the keys to a brand new Cadillac, saying, "This is your show. This is your show. Make it something. Show those fuckers that you were on."
Talk about a divided locker room at an event.
They
Holy
make it.
crap, man.
They make it work though. I mean,
They do, but
because I think the Bucks are smart enough to go, you know what? We hate this fucking guy, but there's a lot of people that really like this fucking guy.
yeah,
They're not stupid businessmen. I mean, it's like, when Guns N' Roses inevitably get back together, when they're back together now, but before then there's a lot of bad blood and them wanting to kill each other,
I know. I kind of want to tell Deem about this real quick.
Yeah.
Just because it's interesting. And for anyone who's listening or watching and you're not an AEW fan or you don't watch wrestling but you just like The Wrestler as a movie, there's some real world controversy in this, fictional world. So CM Punk, right? My favorite wrestler. He left WWE on bad terms. He was injured. The doctors were telling him it ain't that bad. He thought otherwise. He sought outside help. They agreed with him. So he was like, okay, WWE's just trying to run me into the ground,
Makes sense.
So he leaves them. And it was a big deal because he was literally at the top of his game. He was arguably the biggest wrestler in the fucking world at the time. CM Punk was everywhere, dude. He was on the cover of the video game. He was doing this, commercial. I mean, he was everywhere. He leaves, just drops off the face here. Everyone's like, because he was featured in a Royal Rumble match and then gone. Just disappeared. I was like, whoa. And now he was running off of a historic title run, too. So.
Okay.
Top of the mountain, disappears. Now, at that time period, one of his best friends, Cole Cabana. They grew up together. They were in the Indies together, both wrestlers. They had a little bit of a legal hiccup due to Punk coming on Colt Cabana's podcast and talking about the stuff with WWE.
Yeah.
And it got to where they actually had to go to court over it.
Oh shit.
So obviously their friendship suffered to where they're not friends anymore. Now Colt Cabana gets signed by this up and coming promotion called AEW. Okay, he's a wrestler at AEW. Yay, Colt Cabana, you're on TV. Well, someone's coming out of retirement. CM Punk. Oh, they're both in AEW.
Yeah.
And then guess who's not featured in AEW anymore? Colt Cabana. And it's speculation, but a lot of people, especially some wrestlers, believe that Punk had something to do with that.
Yikes.
Now, Punk, and this is the reason I love him as a wrestling fan, he is an open book when he wants to be, and he has no fucking filter. If he sits down in front of a mic, you never know what you're going to get. Yes, he has publicly shamed Colt Cabana for how things were handled with the whole court situation. He's roasted his personal life in terms of like how he needed help from his mother and yada yada yada. So it's been kind of hairy. And I can understand if you're a friend of Colt Cabana as a wrestler, you probably don't want to really work with the guy who's putting him out there like that.
Right.
But Punk felt wronged by his lifetime best friend. So it's one of those things. You know, it's a sticky situation. But either way, Adam Hangman Page, right?
Okay.
Ryan's brother's favorite wrestler. One of the biggest names in AEW. Arguably, AEW wouldn't exist without Adam Hangman. Like, he's a big deal, right?
Okay.
He goes off script on TV with Punk in the ring to basically let him know, like, I don't fucking like you. And it caught Punk off guard, again, in the ring on TV. They go off script. Because they were trying to build up to them having a championship match. It gets to a point to where they really don't like each other at all. And Punk is coming out and saying shit off script about Adam Hangman Page.
Yikes.
Right? Yeah. So they're just doing shit they're not supposed to be doing. And I feel like Tony Khan at this time was probably trying to figure out how to make it a work.
Yeah.
And in the industry, that means you're going to try to take a real life beef, which has happened a lot. Historically, I'd say the most famous one is Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. But you're taking a real life beef and you're going to try to squish it down into a story and make everyone think like, it's just part of the show.
Sure.
That kind of worked for a little bit. But then, after a pay-per-view, Punk's on a mic. He's sitting down at a media scrub, alright? So he's sitting down next to Tony Khan, the owner of this fucking company. And he's got live mics. People are asking this and that about his match. He went off the fucking rail, dude. And it's honestly, like, a lot of people are kind of like, alright, dude, you're taking it too far.
Yeah.
Me as a Punk fan, I love it. I fucking love it. I don't care what anyone thinks. I love that part of Punk. I really do.
He's honest. He isn't gonna sit down.
Dude's munching on shit, drinking water, whatever. He's just fucking like, yeah, like, fuck those guys. He literally, like, so the Bucks, Kenny Omega, Adam Hangman Page, they were all like, are they all VPs?
Other than Hangman, everybody's an EVP.
Okay. So, like, Adam Hangman Page is, like, best friends with these dudes that are literally VPs in the company.
Oh, wow.
EVP. So, like, they make decisions. They've got a financial, play in what's going on in the company. They help find the company. So, he's an integral part. He's kind of invincible.
Yeah.
You got Punk sitting down, outing all of them as a group next to the owner of the company that is in business with them.
That's so awkward.
So, that was weird. Just in itself. It was like, ooh, this is weird, like, where are we going with this? And at first I'm like, this is a part of a story. Like, I'm still, like, I didn't know this shit wasn't supposed to be happening. Backstage, no one knows what really happened, and Kenny Omega has said in an interview with Renee Paquette that we probably never will. But a fight happened. Like a real legit fight with CM Punk and Ace Steel. Ace Steel's a legend of the business, good friend of Punk who worked behind the scenes at AEW. He no longer does. And then Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, they come from what we know, they maybe came to his locker room to confront him about what he said and how he was ruining the morale in the locker room in general. You know, like being old and hateful, like basically. So maybe that's what was going on. No one knows for sure. But an altercation definitely happened because a historic thing had just happened with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, and it was totally turned around the next week on Dynamite. Tony Khan, the owner of the company, comes on TV and says that he has stripped them of the trios titles that they had literally just won at that pay-per-view.
Oh, shit.
Gone. And CM Punk, gone. He actually had the title.
The world title.
World title, stripped. So that's when it hit me. I was trying to tell Abby, like, this isn't fucking work. Like, something really happened backstage. And it was weird to see him come on and start the show like that because on Twitter there was all this shit, like, oh, a fight broke out. Sure. And, like, Sean Ross, dude that works for...
the Observer newsletter.
Yes. He was, like, putting all this speculation. Usually when he talks about something, it has some legitimacy at least. So I was like, okay, it's a work still. But yeah, no, they were out of the company for months.
Damn.
They're still not able to talk about it because of all the legal shit,
yeah,
too. That's how you know it's like...
That's what I mean. Kenny Omega was interviewed directly about it, and he was like, you know, we're in better places now, but, you know, we can't talk about it. It's unfortunate that happened, blah, blah, blah. But there's been no details.
It's either legit or it's the best work in the history of wrestling.
Dude, if it turns out to be a work, I'll actually be excited, because I'll be like, you got me. Like,
yeah.
As an adult, as someone who understands this industry, you got me.
Yeah.
But man, there's been
the
a lot
animosity,
done.
the fact they can't be in the same locker room, the fact that he's on a different show.
That's what I was going to get to. Collision that I just watched last night. It's actually my favorite thing with AEW right now because it's just different and it's cool. And they got awesome intro music. But CM Punk comes back after this suspension, which a lot of people, like Ryan's saying, we thought he was just gone, like he was done with the company. But Tony Khan comes out and announces like CM Punk will be on the debut of Collision, and like me and any other CM Punk, I was like, holy shit, he's coming back.
Yeah.
But this show very noticeably has wrestlers that were already getting along with him or were his friends prior to this incident.
The biggest being FTR, that tag team that like
yes.
I mean, even before all the shit went down, like you could tell they had a really good working relationship in ring, and it's also a lot of people that are just like they weren't getting TV time on Dynamite.
Yes.
They weren't in good standing with the company. They're all on Collision.
Like, I'm gonna say Jay White in AEW would be insignificant, which is sad to say because he's awesome, if it weren't for Collision.
Yeah.
Jay White's fucking phenomenal, dude. And they tried to bring him in shortly after Adam Cole came back and was with the Elite. It was just too much, you know? It's like, you got too many of your friends trying to be in this faction, and it's like... But yeah, so it's insane, because like Ryan said, if it's a work, they stripped 3 of their EVPs of a title they had just created and gave to them at this pay-per-view. They stripped them of it, suspended them. Now, I will say they did come back before CM Punk. So that kind of tells me, like, they were already working on how to have this new show and separate the different parties. But they do all that. They create a new fucking show, which means Tony Khan is forking out a lot more money to have TV time because it's not an hour show. It's a 2-hour show. WWE used to have Raw as 2 hours and SmackDown as an hour. And SmackDown was a big deal when it went to 2 hours because it was like, holy shit, we got 4 hours of wrestling in 1 week. And then Raw went to 3 hours, and it was like, whoa!
But that's way too long.
It is way too long.
Way too long.
They don't know what to do with it even to this day. But AEW comes in, and you've got 2-hour show, and then you got the 1-hour show, because Rampage was relatively new when CM Punk came back from retirement. And that's where he came back, was on that show. But now you've got 2-hour show, 2-hour show, 1-hour show. Like, AEW's fucking killing it, man. But, again, this was all done because of CM Punk. One wrestler.
That's wild.
So, again, if it is a work, it's insanely well done, and a lot of money and time and effort has been put into building it up. And it will be the greatest story ever told in wrestling because it'll culminate probably at like next year's All In or something. Because Kenny Omega did tease we might see
Being
them
on
on Collision. Yeah, so that's been a big thing. Kenny Omega, Young Bucks. We'll never see Adam Hangman Page on Collision, but they teased I'd pop on Collision too because they haven't been on the show thus far. It's been a show for like a month or so. They have not been on it.
They probably won't be on it.
Yeah, but that would be wild. Like, Punk. I'm gonna tell you what I want, Ryan. I won't get it. I know I won't because I think Punk's not there in his life anymore. I want Punk to have somebody come out tonight, attack Samoa Joe. Punk has a stable again. Punk to me in WWE was at his best when he was the leader of a faction, whether it was Nexus or the Straight Edge Society. I love him being a leader.
Yeah.
And I like him as a heel. I love him as a heel, man. And if
Good.
somebody came out tonight, attacked Samoa Joe, we have a new faction with CM Punk, that would be insane. And he has this long title run where it's like, I'm the real world's champion, and MJF's like, no, I'm the AEW champion, and then maybe he loses it to somebody, blah, blah, blah. And then it gets to Kenny Omega. And then we have Kenny Omega, CM Punk to unify the title.
That'd be so cool.
It'd be the greatest wrestling story ever told, man. I want it so bad. Ah.
Well, for now, how about the coup d'etat of the final main event of tonight? Adam Cole and MJF for the world title. A match that's went to a 30-minute draw the first time they wrestled. Had one of the best storylines right now
Yeah.
with the
Very
friendship.
entertaining. What do you think about that? Have you been enjoying the...
I love it.
Okay, me
It's
too.
my favorite thing every week on Dynamite.
When they debuted their combined entrance music, I actually like jumped in my couch. I was like, "Oh shit, dude!"
I
That's
love
so
them
cool.
with the Oz, like the Outback Steakhouse and the other shit. It's just goofy. But to me, I'm repping MJF. I gotta support him tonight.
If he turns on Adam Cole, I'll be so excited. Don't get me wrong, MJF. I think he is the best up and coming wrestler. I think is how I want to word that.
Yeah.
He is so good on the mic, Dima. I could pull up a video of him on the mic right now, and you would love it, even though you don't care about wrestling.
He's just that good.
This dude is so fucking entertaining. He puts everything he has into that goddamn microphone.
He shits on everybody. It's just nobody's safe.
He acts like that is the hottest girl he's ever seen, and he's gonna put himself in it and get it pregnant. Like that is how he looks at a microphone.
That's not a wrong comparison.
No, dude. I mean, he goes at that motherfucker, and it's so entertaining. When we were at the show in Cincinnati last year, him and William Regal had their mic off. Oh my god, man!
Even
Abby was like, "Man, he's really getting into this." I'm like,
Even
"That's
even the first go around, the first show they did in Cincinnati, like he was there. Brian Pillman Jr., who is the son of Brian Pillman, who was a big wrestler in the '90s for WWF, who
Rest in peace.
he passed away.
Also rest in peace to
He
him.
was like kicking the ring and going and looking down, going, "Hey Pillman, we need to talk." Like he's in hell. He was calling Skyline Chili mid. He was calling the Reds mid. He was saying
He calls us mid-Westerners.
He said, "What a bunch of fat motherfuckers in the audience." Like he's just shitting on.
Not wrong.
He's unhinged,
Hurtful.
man.
He does it with every city too. He always has something to say about every city. But yeah, he's the best on the mic.
He is, in my opinion, the best. He's going to be one of the greatest wrestlers of all time because he's so good right now and he's young. He's in his 20s. He's young.
I'm calling it. Call it controversial. He's the modern day Ric Flair.
No.
He's good on the mic. He wrestles so good.
Dude, so good. And he's able to fake, notice I said fake, being a baby face so fucking well, man. His baby face is great. But that's because he's a great heel.
But who do you got? MJF or Adam Cole?
I mean, I want MJF to win.
But you're thinking they might give it to Adam Cole?
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to build up to him winning. And again, that could set up a scenario where maybe Punk and MJF have their second go about because Punk has the real, like maybe he comes out to his promo like, MJF, don't you want the real world's title?
And Adam Cole and Roderick Strong inevitably feud.
I was going to say, they've been building that up, so we know we're Adam
Which
Cole.
that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh,
put-
what if they come out tonight?
That'd be something.
That'd be shit.
I'm betting on MJF though. I'm not gonna.
This is why this is a good event, because most of these matches I could see going different ways.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variables at play. Dima, I'm going to end this podcast by showing you one of my favorite MJF promos.
Let's do it.
Oh, I need that picture, Kyle.
What picture?
That one right there.
Which one?
That one.
The match card?
Yeah.
I can just text it to you.
Oh yeah, that works too.
Guys, alright, ladies and gentlemen, and others, it is 2023, and Dima,
I'm a
who has
man.
the newest iPhone, I think it's newer than mine.
No, it's the 13, I think.
Oh, you're a rich son of a bitch. This thing can take a picture of me and he can see my skeleton. He wants to take a picture of the display on the TV coming from my fucking MacBook.
Oh man.
I could screenshot my MacBook and airdrop it to
Is
you
that
faster than you could click the fucking camera
Is it a
button.
13 or 14?
I think it's like 12 or
He
13.
don't, see, he's so fucking spoiled he doesn't know
I got
because he
a
doesn't care,
13.
Ryan.
I could take a picture of your face and
It's
see
a
the
new
boogers
year,
in
he's
it.
got the new iPhone. That's
No,
all
it's
he knows.
It's 13.
That's what I just got too, man. Good shit. Good shit. Let's see this clip.
Yeah, Ryan's already going to know.
Who am I focusing
I
on?
hope it's one of my more favorite ones.
I don't know what I need to, like... Hold on. Let me see if this will bring it up. I don't want to be too specific. There it is.
Yes.
You see? Alright, Dima.
Doing business on your terms.
Yeah, for some reason,
Making a difference.
I can't get my audio to play through
I am
TV.
in a lot of pain right now after what happened on Sunday.
With no
What all you
context.
people want to do is hear me talk, right?
You will appreciate
that's
this.
That's what you want, right? You want to hear me talk? I'll talk, but this is Max Friedman talking.
Who?
This woman.
What's his name?
Big merger, boss. A lot of important executives here tonight to watch your product. Would be a real shame if something bad happened.
Alright guys, well we just showed Dima the infamous MJF promo where he basically went off script, went off the rails. It's probably one of the most iconic promos that he's given in his career so far, and I'm sure there's a lot more to come. Dima, what is your reaction to that promo? Being a non-wrestling fan.
That was actually really entertaining and fucking wild.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
He is
I
the
probably
reason,
watched this just for him.
He is the reason I watch AEW.
Same.
He
was
really is.
entertaining.
I love CM Punk. I love a lot of the wrestlers that I didn't know who the fuck they were when I first started watching, which I credit Ryan to. But MJF, he's it, man. Definitely the next Ric Flair. That's a good call. I've never compared them, but dude, in that promo for sure,
You can
he had
see
that like that woo off between him and Jay Lethal. Like,
Yeah, it kind of seemed, that promo I think kind of made me think that, because I was like, God damn, I
Yeah, dude.
hear it, I see it.
Yeah, but anyways, Ryan, I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. This has been fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the inner wrestling nerd in me who always just wants to talk about wrestling and never
course.
can. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We'll have to do some more podcasts with you for sure.
Thank you boys for having me.
And of course, if you have any requests, we will tackle them, because any guests we have on the show, we usually do what they want to do. And you did what I wanted to do on this one, so I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been cool.
Thank you boys for having me. I would recommend Dark Side of the Ring in the future.
Yes, especially the one about Chris Benoit.
Yeah. That'd be
You
a
should
good
not
case.
be named. Dima, if you were going to watch anything about wrestling, that is something you would be interested in, especially someone who's into
Yeah. Lord Voldemort.
serial killers and mass murders.
What is it?
Chris Benoit, also known as Lord Voldemort, who,
Yeah, he who
He's
shall
just-
be named.
yeah.
Ben
Um,
War?
Do you want to plug anything? Smart Marks still a thing?
It is. Just trying to get that back up and running. Me and my brother do a lot of wrestling podcasts, predictions, lists, stuff like that. Also plug in my band, Intellectuals Band. Look it
Yes.
up through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, if you guys want to listen to some killer commentary on wrestling in general, even though it's past events, look up Smart Marks podcast. You guys are on Spotify, I think is where I listen
Yep.
to you. But very entertaining. Very entertaining. You guys have good predictions.
We try to.
You guys hit the nail on
know
the
our
head for
shit.
sure. Yeah. Anything else you want to say, Demon?
No, I mean it. Like I said, time and time again, the movie. Going back to the movie, the reason why we're here.
Oh yeah.
A great storyline. It really opens up your eyes, as at least as a non-wrestling fan, to what the world's like, and it definitely gave me more respect for the industry, for the entertainers, for what they put themselves through, whether it's physically or with their families. Like it's wild, and it's things you don't think about.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely recommend watching this movie for anybody who isn't a wrestling fan. Definitely watch it at least once, give it a shot.
Good stuff.
But no, I mean it's been real. It's definitely an interesting
Oh yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah. Darren Aronofsky's good for character studies for sure. Peculiar characters.
Shit, true.
Yeah. But all right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in again. This week's episode is definitely one of my favorites as a wrestling fan, and having our good friend Ryan on, it's been
Thanks,
an honor. As always, hit the follow or subscribe wherever the fuck is down below, wherever you're at, and always hit the goddamn thumb on hand. Whether it's up or down, we don't care. We're just here to have fun and not get canceled. Not get canceled. But until next time, we'll see you guys later.